What's up, what's up, what's up? Is anybody in here? Who do we got? Art, what's up, Art? Ask us any questions. Find out what we're all about. What's up, Lisa? How are we doing, Mark? Come talk to us. One of the big topics I want to talk about today is broker transparency. I think it's a hoax. Prove me wrong. Yep, come in and prove me wrong that broker transparency is a hoax. Just waiting around on everybody to get in here. If anybody's coming in here, not coming in here. Come in, talk to me, ask any questions about trucking, so on and so forth. See what everybody's got to say. Like I said, I'm here to find out if anybody can prove me wrong that broker transparency is a hoax. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it is none of anybody's business what any other business makes here. And I'm not a broker. I'm a carrier. I'm an owner-operator. So I'm waiting. If you don't like it, don't take it. Wow, well, there you go. So you're not here to you're not here to disprove me. That's good to know, I guess. Oh yeah, I don't. I'm waiting to hear it. I want to hear somebody come over here and tell me the broker transparency is a hoax and prove me wrong. I'm waiting on it. I am absolutely waiting on it. Simple business. Yes, Art. Yes. Yes. It's a simple business. It really is. If it doesn't pay your bills, if you're not going to be profitable, you just don't take the load. It's that simple. So, Excited Hunter joined. Come on in. Somebody come in here and prove me wrong. The broker transparency is a hoax. And at the $5 a mile, $1 a mile, we don't need caps on brokers. That's not what needs to happen. Waiting for somebody to do it. I want somebody to come in. They need to take a business course. You know, Art, if you go check out any of the videos we got or any of the podcasts we've got, man, it's business acumen. You hear me say it all the time. Making smart business decisions. Go to the library, but check out a book at the library about business management, business courses. One of my favorite movies, Good Will Hunting, a line in it. One of these days, you're going to realize that you spent $150,000 on an education that you could have got for $1.50 in late fees at the local library. I mean, it's free education. So I'm waiting on somebody to come prove me wrong, though. Come on through here, prove me wrong. The broker transparency is a hoax, and that we don't need to cap brokers, and that we don't need to worry about minimum rates on any of the industry. So, because if you put a minimum, that also goes through and puts a maximum on there. So, what's up, Chuck Dog? Coming in here to try to prove me wrong that broker transparency is a hoax? We don't need to worry about it. Well, it is TikTok nonsense, but it's been around before TikTok. It's actually, it's emotional thinking. It's actually emotional thinking. It's where people are using their emotions instead of using critical thinking skills. They need to remove the emotion from it and go from there. Minimum and caps equals shortage eventually. Well, yeah. Well, see, this is the problem. When you put a minimum on there, that also allows a maximum. So, you know, it is economics 101. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that when you do a minimum, you also allow for a maximum. You know, it's kind of like machining. You have tolerances when you build a part, plus or minus 3 thou or plus or minus 5 thou or whatever that tolerance is. So, you know, there's it's yin and yang. You know, you look at the symbol, the white, the black, you know, one's teardrop, you got a white teardrop and a black teardrop, and then this teardrop that's white's got a black circle, and this black teardrop's got a white circle, and it's yin and yang. When you do one, you do the other. So let the free market or quasi-free market adjust itself. That's not a bad idea. You know, this is the thing with trucking. It's cyclical. Trucking is cyclical. It is 100% cyclical. We watched this happen back during COVID. The rates went through the roof. Everybody come in like it was a massive gold rush. Bought trucks, bought equipment, did all this. All these guys and gals that had no business being in the trucking industry because they don't really know the first thing about it other than the fact that, oh, I can go get a CDL, which we're seeing now, all these fake CDL schools that were popping up, which probably helped to fuel this massive influx of carriers that we had. And yeah, I mean, I'm speculating there, but I'm willing to bet that these schools didn't just pop up last night, that have been around, that you know, Sean Duffy and the Department of Transportation is finding. And I'm willing to bet that they're going to go through and they're going to find that these schools are around, and a lot of these carriers, single truck carriers and stuff, got these licenses and they had no business doing it. So, I mean, it's there. So somebody else come on in here and try to prove Art and I wrong. It will market correct eventually. It's just taking longer because of Bidenomics. Yes and no. I don't necessarily want to say that I want to blame Biden on that. I see a lot of previous to Biden policies that were made. It's like the removing the out of service for the non-English speaking. Obama did that, not Biden. And that happened in 2016, right before Trump took office. I blame part of that on Trump. I blame part of that on Obama. And that's what's allowed a lot of them to come into our industry here that are non-English speaking and drive those rates down. It allowed for a massive influx of carriers because they didn't have to follow certain rules. So when you go through and you do that, that allows for that influx. So they printed more money than ever before, so artificially created. Well, you're right. That helps inflation. That helped the inflation. I'm talking about what helped drive the carrier numbers up, which created that overcapacity problem. If you're noticing now and you see how a lot of these numbers, the carrier counts are going down because they're being put out of service, they would have never got in the first place if Obama hadn't wrote the memo, and if Trump, when he took over his first term, would have removed that memo and got rid of that whole nonsense with the English speaking side of it. So it's one of those things. What's this saying here? Oh no, that's not. I thought somebody was putting a comment up. Sorry, but yeah, that's you know, Obama and Trump. I blame them too. I blame Biden for the inflation. So and the thing is, we really haven't had a good president in this country in so long that it's not even funny. Yeah, Cali has too many chameleon carriers and most are not 100% compliant. So I was talking to a good friend of mine here the last couple days. They're not in Cali anymore. These trucks go to to Texas. They're in Texas. They're hiding out in Texas instead of going back to Cali. I can move a load for $1 per mile. I don't see how that's possible. Not with the current fuel prices. I really don't. $1 a mile, I don't see how that's possible. Because the current fuel prices, you're going to be somewhere around, 50 to 60 cents a mile. So, that's just in fuel. You're looking at another 30 cents with maintenance, another 30 cents or so for truck payment and insurance costs. So now we're right there, somewhere around $1.20 a mile, just in that. So yeah, $1 a mile, I don't see that. When you start getting into that stuff, it's the average right now. The average cost to run a truck down the road is $2.75 a mile. They use red dye fuel or funny fuel cards. Well, so I know there is some of that going on, but even on the red dye fuel, you're just removing the IFTA tax off the price of the fuel. So, I mean, I've got a thing here, so let me pull up here on my tablet, and I've got an app that talks about the state-by-state IFTA tax rates. So, what is my tablet doing here? Oh, apparently we did an update. Skip, search. Oh, let's see here. Oh, apparently we're going to have to download something. We've got to update. Oh, there it goes. We're updated. All right, cool. So, when you look at the cost here on, now I've got to log in and everything. That's a stinker. Okay, maybe I've got to reset a password. These carriers don't pay for legit insurance either. They are under umbrella company. So you're getting into, trust me, they do. Oh, I'm not saying they don't do it with the red dye, Bubba. I'm not saying that at all. Don't get me wrong there. I'm not disagreeing. What I'm saying is that doesn't lower that fuel cost price per mile very much. It really doesn't. So that's all I'm saying. Not trying to ignore you. I'm trying to pull this up so we can talk about that a little bit. And apparently but yeah, they aren't legal and following. Well, so this is the thing where, like, I already know that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen the videos and stuff where they're changing out their DOT numbers at the, all of it. So it's ridiculous. So yeah. When they're changing out their DOT numbers, that's a huge problem. So, if anybody wants to come up, invite yourself. I'll accept. I don't care. So, but yeah, that's one of those things. What is going on with my stuff here? What is wrong with it? This is what happens when I went through the one day and I had to do a whole reset, factory data reset on my tablet. And I'm just telling you, it absolutely has been a nightmare for me. Here we go. All right. So, yeah. He sends his money overseas anyways. Okay. I know because I have a lane that I pay the driver pennies. And he's happy. He sends his money overseas. Yeah, so that's one of the issues. They cut many corners. They don't pay the drivers more than $3. Oh, I know that. Yeah. Don't pay for legit insurance either. They under an umbrella company. Yeah, I get it. I 100% get it. I really do. I 100% get what you're saying. I really do. Create my own, please. Apparently, I don't know what I'm doing here. did something else. All right, let's try this now. Come on. See if we can get logged in. I mean, because when you, when we're talking about, they are legal. Yeah, so when we talk about the side of it, oh, it's not a matter of, look, dude, there's truth and then there's negativity. Also, most of the, yeah, I know that. Well, so we've already seen that. We've seen where these, they're not doing what they need to be doing, you know, to make sure of what's going on. I mean, let's just look here right now. Florida. It's 3:55 where I'm at. So yeah, if they were to do in Florida here where I'm at, they're going to save 40 cents a gallon, which you're going from 355 to 315. Not a whole lot there. Because he didn't have CDL, but he passed my vetting. Okay, I'm kind of curious. You want to come up and explain that one there, buddy, about your vetting process? I would love to hear about this. You mind coming up? I don't know if you can or not, whatever. Let me see here. Where you at here? Why am I not seeing you here? Bait and switch drivers. Oh, okay. I got you. Bait and switch drivers. So that's how they passed your vetting process? Was a bait and switch? I mean, I'm curious as to how that worked. You know, and what kind of a vetting process you do. Oh, gotcha. Okay, they're telling you one thing and then they're switching up after the fact. Okay, I got you. You're using my carrier pole to and then they do something different. Gotcha. Okay, I understand. I get it. Well, and see, that's one of those things, man. You know, that's one of those things. It's just, yeah, it's tough. It's really tough like that when you're dealing with that. It really is. I mean, that's absolutely insane. It's terrible that you got to deal with that, but it is what it is. So, I mean, and you're obviously doing what you're supposed to be doing as far as, pass through with a legit driver. Yeah, and they probably have one legit driver that they're using, and then they're giving, they've got 15 other that are non-legit drivers, and just hoping and praying that they get the load down the road without causing an accident, I'm sure. I'm sure of that. So, oh, I get that. Yeah, I get that. I mean, there's a couple I've seen on here on TikTok that I know that seem to be pretty decent with the dispatching side. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, but, only American drivers, so I lose my margins. Well, I mean, that's where we need to get these shippers. The thing with it is this. Your shippers and manufacturers, they're making record profits right now. And they're not wanting to come off of those profits. And that's one of those biggest things, is that they're making record profits. They're not wanting to come off those record profits. And we have people out there like what you just spoke about that are the illegal side, where they're doing the old bait and switch tactic on getting, vetted through the carrier process, and then they put somebody on there that they're only paying $200-300 a week, like you said, $300 or $400 a week, and they're probably running that driver probably 3,500 to 4,000 miles in a week, So yeah, they're not making any money, it's bad, I mean, I knew a couple of guys that were from South Africa that they run, a hopper bottom like I do, and they had been here for 5 years at the time, and they were still trying to get their citizenship. They were sponsored by the company they worked for, so they were here legit and legally. Obviously, they spoke English, being South African. It's a broken type English. Obviously, most people from South Africa have a different accent, but it's still an English dialect. And but anyways, they were here, and they had been here and had been basically been taken advantage of for the last 5 years because of the fact that they were, had been here all this time trying to get it, and the guy that owned the company, instead of doing the right thing and getting them their green card, and allowing them to move forward with the American citizenship, and becoming an actual citizen, he just kept abusing them and not hardly paying them anything. And the worst of it is he got them down to the point to where that they couldn't, they really didn't have the money to go back, nor did they have the abilities to move forward with citizenship here. So it's kind of a catch-22. So anybody that's come in and prove to me wrong that broker transparency is not a hoax. I want somebody to come prove to me that broker transparency is not a hoax. So most small legit carriers will go bankrupt. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm a small carrier. It's just me. I don't know if I will say I hope I don't go broke. I've been out here. I've been trucking since '97. Been doing my own thing now for about 5 years. So and I run other businesses in the past. So it's, but that's one of those things. So I do like to say that statement of that's the exception, not the rule. So I do understand what you're saying there. Yeah, it is. Maybe I am the exception and not the rule. I do understand what you're saying, that you go through, and a lot of them are going to be, but I think a lot of them are going to go out of business because they just don't know they don't have the business intelligence or the know-how to do it. I think that's what it is. I think they struggle with being able to know how to run a business, to know the actual operating costs, to how to monitor those costs, to track those costs, and keep all that going. That's it. They don't understand business. That's exactly it. They just don't. It's one of those things. There's a lot of them out there. A lot needs to be changed. So a lot needs to be changed. And the biggest thing of it is really it's more along the lines of it's more education than anything that they need. Like I say, they could go get a book at the library and get their learn how to run a business for next to nothing. So understanding costs and expenses correctly is very important. I see somebody who calculates CPM wrong. Oh yeah. Well, it's like I've said in some of the videos. I have a spreadsheet. I've already designed this thing. It'll hold 4 years worth of data. I don't, in my opinion, I don't need to go any more than 4 years on it. So I'll go through, and after this one, I'll probably take some of the previous ones and go from there. I don't necessarily know if I want to create a whole another sheet and go into 5 years and so on and so forth. 4-year cycle, that's pretty much, 4 to 5 years is pretty much the cycle of trucking. I've watched it happen since '97. We ride the waves, and it's a 4 to 5 year wave. We had 4 years, good years there of rates were up, and everybody was doing good, making money, and then now we're down here. We started coming back down. I have seen some of the rates are starting to come back up. I'm curious to know whether that is being affected by the removal of all the non-domicile CDL, or if it, or what's causing that. So the rate to go back up, because as you remove more out of the industry, that helps lower the overcapacity side of it. So we'll see. Who knows? Never can tell. But I am curious to see whether or not what's causing our current, because we're not really, I would say probably was 2021? Yeah, 21 was about the peak of the rates. So, and now we're at about the lowest of the rates, and that's about 4 years. I mean, could they go lower again? They we have a little, little bump in the wave there, possibly. I mean, I'm not a good freight predictor. I mean, it's not. So I run a hopper bottom. That's what I run. I run bulk agricultural. It's all feed, stuff like that, or feed byproducts, or raw material for feed, whether it's dog food, cat food, cattle feed, hog feed, chicken feed, whatever. It could be micros, it could be macros. Micros are like your salt, mono-cal, things of that nature, small, and then your macros would be considered like corn and beans, DDGs, things of that nature. So it's all agricultural that I do. I used to do livestock years ago. I don't mess with that anymore as far as agricultural goes. I worked for company right before being an owner-operator, and we did agricultural there, but we did both, of where we did hopper and we did LTL van freight. So you go to different farms and ranches, mills, drop off a pallet, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever. So I'm an SCTG oil country tubular disc. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, and from my understanding, anything that has to do with the oil fields right now is doing very well. So I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody that's I kind of figure. Anybody coming in, if you're hearing, main topic is broker transparency is a hoax. Prove me wrong. Hey, Audrey's in here. How's Audrey today? Let's see if we can get Audrey to come up here. Okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? There we go. I figured it out. Audrey, are you in here?
I am. How are you this morning?
Oh, we're doing all right. Figured I'd get on here. We haven't done a live in a while. Talk about a few things. Main topic right now is broker transparency is a hoax. Prove me wrong.
Definitely a hot topic in the industry. It'll be interesting to see what FMCSA does the first part of next year. Frankly, I don't think it's going to change. I think they're going to keep it the way it is. There's way too much money for everybody to not do that. And I think that drivers need to understand that if they go down that road with broker transparency, it's actually going to inadvertently affect them in a negative way.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, it's like me and Art was talking about here just a minute ago, and the fact of the minimums also create maximums. You put a cap on a broker, you can put a cap on a carrier. So, and
well, it's not just that. It's going to be, if you want them to, it's kind of like that old adage of, you want to see mine, then you're going to have to show me yours.
That's what I was just about to say. If we're going to get into the fact that we know how much brokers are profiting, now they're going to want to know what truckers are profiting. So, you know, and the thing of it is, though, the one that they're talking about with the broker transparency, with what I've seen in the last time that I read it, and I just read it here a few weeks ago, it's not going to do anything to help because there's nothing that's going to be current. Absolutely nothing's current. So nothing is going to be shown on the rate con when they get the rate con. You're not going to know until you go and request it weeks down the road or days down the road. And that's even if they were to bring in what they're saying that you have to do it electronically. So they can go through and they can say, well, you have to give us 3 to 5 business days to do it. So you go and you submit it. A lot of these guys and gals use factoring companies, so they're already going to have submitted the bills to the factoring company to go back to the broker, and they're liable to have already got paid on this. By the time they go through and they find out that the broker really made 30% on the load, the thing of it is, did it change anything for that load? No. And you're still not going to know anything the next time around. I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy. Am I wrong?
Again, you invite the government into your business and you want them to do that. If you want to see broker transparency, when are they going to start asking for carrier transparency or shipper transparency or all these other things? It's not going to stop with just broker transparency. What's fair for the goose is fair for the gander, as the old adage goes. And that's just how policy goes. If you're going to create a law for one person, it's going to affect everybody. And I think that's the big thing, is that, you know, it's what we call in the political world unintended consequences. Do you as a driver want to show where every single penny that you make goes? That's what's going to happen. And I get a lot of pushback from drivers on that. And again, I don't own a truck. I have somebody in my life who does. And the thing about it is that do you really want the government in your business? Do you really want them to start, you know, doing that? And I think that's the thing that a lot of these movements need to understand is, what do you really want? And do you want the government to be a part of that on so many levels? And for me, I can tell you right now, no, I don't want the government knowing everything I'm doing. It doesn't matter if I'm working a 9 to 5 or I'm a shift driver, or, you know, I drove for FedEx for a few years. And it's one of those things, if it's like, you know, I don't think I want the government in that, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Like, I guess there's just a lot of misconception about that kind of stuff.
Well, I think it's just a matter of where lack of understanding of how everything works. You know, it's like I've been saying here, not everybody gets to play in the majors. And being an owner-operator or being a carrier, you're in the majors. This is the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, the NHL, you know, MLS, whatever you want to call it. You know, this is the pros. You know, you might have been, and you probably still are, a great truck driver. You know, and you might have 2.5 million miles accident free, and you know, you try to practice your proper following distances and your pre-trips and everything else, but you don't know shit about apple butter when it comes to running a business. And that's where you go from wearing just the hat of the truck driver to now you're wearing the hat as well of a business operator. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to go out of business quickly because you don't know the proper operational procedures of running a business. And I think that's where most of the problem is, you know, because, I mean, I just had an argument here a couple of days ago with a guy, and I'm not going to put him out there, but, you know, back and forth, and it's all about, well, it's the broker's fault, broker fault. No, it's not. Yeah, I just had a comment on one of the videos that I put up there about, well, it's the broker's responsibility to make sure you're getting a fair rate. No, it's not. If I look at any load that I'm getting, if we have any of the traders, and I get emails all the time, hey, I got a load going from here to here. And if I'm able to cover it, I look at it. If they didn't put on there what the commodity is, I will ask what the commodity is so I can, because most of what I do is paid by the ton. I go through, I grab that distance, and I look at it off of my spreadsheet, and I go, okay, well, I need X amount per ton to be profitable. And so I know this mark right here, and we'll just say it's $50 a ton is my break even. And so I'll shoot for 75. You know, Doesn't mean I'm going to get it, but I'm going to shoot for it. So if I shoot for the 75 and I get the 75, great. If they come back and they say, well, the best that we can do right now is 60. But if I know it's moving into a great market that I'm going to be able to bounce right back out of course I'm going to take it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'd take it even if it was at the 50 mark. It was my break even. If I know it puts me into a great market, I'm not losing any money on it. I'm going to do it, But that's you have to give and take a little bit here, because unless you're like a Knight or a Werner or a CR England that has this massive truck count, that has this massive power and being able to move, you can't. It's hard to dictate contract freight, So I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it.
The problem I see, so I'm an owner operator, own a small fleet, and I also broker. So I'm the devil himself,
You're like Cisco. I'd love for Cisco to come up here. He's the same way. He's a carrier and a broker.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I move several $1 million in freight every year through the brokerage.
Okay.
I don't post out 100 loads all year because I primarily work with small fleets and owner operators that we've built a relationship with each other. Most of the time I can just call one of these guys and say, hey, you got a truck over here? I need a truck. And they'll be like, yep, send one over. Where are we going? And I'll tell them, and they'll be like, okay. And there's never a rate discussed because they know the rates are good. I've got guys that are literally bouncing places just to haul stuff for me. And I'm doing the same on my end as an owner operator, working for my direct customers. And I've got a handful of brokers that I work for that I don't look at as a broker, I look at as a customer. And the biggest problem I'm seeing is all these lazy asses are bitching about, oh, poor me, the brokers are killing us, but nobody's willing to get off their ass and find their own customers. These guys
the lack of business acumen that's killing them.
They're not willing to get off the ass and build relationships with brokers. They think that somebody's holding a gun to their head to sign this contract, and somebody's holding a gun to their head to move these loads. The guy I'm pulling for, I'm hauling some cows this fall, helping a buddy out, and he had a way light load the other day, and I'm like, dude, sorry, but it doesn't pay. And I didn't haul it. And guess what? The next day, I got a way bigger load that paid really, really well. And that's the problem is these guys, everybody's afraid to say no. And they're too damn lazy to go out and work for their own customers. They want everything just handed to them.
Yeah. Well, and that's that lack of business acumen, though. You can't expect that just because that you are a great truck driver, that's all it's going to be. And that's all you need to become an owner operator is to be a great truck driver. And then you turn around and it's like, well, no. It's the conversation I just had. They got upset with me because I said that I'm averaging 380 a loaded mile. This is loaded mile, okay? 380 loaded miles, what I'm averaging. And upset with me saying that I'm bragging about it. And I'm like, do you know how hard I worked to get there?
Right.
The time that I spent, dragging ass when the rates weren't all that good or whatever, or I would haul loads that weren't that good because I was new to them. They didn't know anything about me. Yeah, I can walk in and say, hey, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, in this industry, until you prove it, you're nothing. Until you go through and you run loads for them and you say, yeah, they call you up and they go, hey, had one drop on us. Can you go get this load for us real quick? But it's got to be over here 700 miles down the road and it's got to be there by morning. And they're calling you at noon the day before. And it's got to be there 700 miles down the road and it's got to be there by 7 a.m. Can you make it happen? You know, and if you
Oh, yeah,
tell them yes, you better make sure it happens, because if you tell them yes, and then you show up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you don't have good a reason for it, you're probably not going to do a whole lot of business with them after the fact. I mean, you're just not going to do it.
But
I mean,
but that's work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's work. Trust me. Do you see all this white and this thinning up here, sir?
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of work and a lot of stress, and you have to want to go get it.
Right.
It's like I like to say, this is the majors. What you're doing, sir, what I'm doing here, as far as being, a carrier, this is the majors. Okay, we are. Yeah, you can be a great truck driver all you want, but now as an owner operator, this is the top. You don't. There's nowhere else to go in the trucking industry other than being a carrier. Like unless you finally build your up to where you're going to be like a CR England or a Knight or whatever and be a mega carrier, but then you're not even really owned by yourself unless you whatever. But yeah, it's not everybody gets to play the game. I mean, I can tell you this. I mean, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, two of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Do you think that they became the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL by not putting in the work and the time?
Exactly.
I mean, Pete Rose didn't become the all-time hit record holder by not being also nicknamed Charlie Hustle. I mean, you watched him play. That man knew what he was doing, and he put in the time and the effort. It isn't just handed to you out here. None of this is handed to any of us. And so to think that we're going to go through and that it's the broker's fault, and if we go through and we get the FMCSA to say, come down and say, well, yeah, you have to get rid of, you are no longer going to be allowed to make any of the carriers sign away their rights, and you absolutely have to give them to this contract, down the road. One, it's not really going to change anything because the dumbasses are still going to haul the load because they don't know what they're losing when they sign the rate con.
Well, here's the other thing that I argue is, carriers have a tendency of acting like they're perfect and that they don't cause anything or don't cause any problems.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, I had 2 loads coming out of Montana down to Colorado.
Okay.
And I've even gotten accused of, being a fraudulent double broker because a lot of those, I'll be honest with you, flatbed loads light, they're paying $2.50, $3 a mile outbound out of Montana. And I hammer on these guys on the English proficiency. It's one of the first questions I ask. Does your driver speak English? Oh, yeah. No problem. Okay. Well, when they've got to call me for a pickup number, and then they've got to be able to communicate English to the customer. And if the customer doesn't think they speak good enough English, they'll kick them out and no truck order not used offered. Oh, yeah, no problem. First guy gets there. He don't speak a lick of English, like at all. And then he calls me from the check-in desk. So I kick him out, get another carrier in there for that load, scramble, get another carrier. And what sucks is I work for a pretty good-sized brokerage. I'm an agent for a pretty good-sized brokerage. These guys were already set up. Everything was good. Well, that driver gets there, and he's got a hot shot, and he's got one authority on one window and a different authority taped to the other window. And then suddenly, after he checks in and was speaking English fine, suddenly he no longer speaks English. And then on another load, had a big truck come in, same thing. Driver, oh yeah, he's an old redneck. He's good. And he shows up and he doesn't speak a lick of English. Well, none of this affected the carriers other than they had to find a new job.
Right.
Nobody realizes what that looks like on me sending 3 trucks in the same day that are all fucked up and none of the loads got moved.
Right.
Because carriers lied to me.
Right. Right.
Well, that's a $1 million a year book of business. And it's no sweat off of their dumbasses, but it could.
Oh, it could close your doors.
Yeah.
It could close your doors quickly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm offering out to the truck north of $250 a mile outbound out of Montana. I've got a good gig going, and I get carriers like that to come in and fuck it up.
Well, I mean, and this is where I kind of will say you kind of get what you pay for on some of that. Not to say that what's happening is right, but I learned years ago when I was racing from John Force that when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And what I'm trying to say by that is when the national freight rate or national average cost to run a truck down the road is $275 a mile, and I know you're hunting around that $275, but you're still a little below it. Maybe I'm just going to say this one. Maybe
I'm a
try to bring
fucking
that
dollar
rate
a
up
mile
some.
better than anything else out of Montana.
Okay, but I'm just saying this.
And-
I'm not saying. I'm just
And
saying maybe help that.
I'd like to see where your numbers come from that show that the average cost to operate a truck is $275.
All right.
But yeah, you're accusing me of being cheap.
No.
I'm a
I didn't say
$1 a
cheap.
mile.
No. I didn't say cheap, sir. I said you're a little bit below the average on cost. That's what I said. I didn't accuse you of being cheap.
Look at freight rates out of Montana for flatbed.
And this is where, if you'd have let me finish, though, where I was saying is, this is where maybe going back and getting the customers to come up a little bit more, you don't have to worry about that so much. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying maybe this could fix that problem.
I make a very fair 10% margin, and I'm paying over $1 more per mile than anything else in the market. You think I'm able to go back to my customers and say, "Hey, you need to pay me even more"? No.
Look, I said maybe. Okay. All I'm doing is trying to throw out an idea to maybe help that problem.
Especially when you got other cut rate sons of bitches coming in and trying to even cut rates even more.
I understand that, and I've talked about that before. I'm not accusing you of being cheap. I'm trying to throw out ideas to maybe help solve your problem. I'm not here to be accusatorial.
No,
I'm here to help.
The problem is all these shady ass carriers out there.
Yes. Now that I will agree with. 100%. Me and Art that's in here, we were just talking about that a little bit ago. You know, he deals with a lot of the same thing. If you go back and read through some of the chat down there, you know, he's dealing with bait and switch tactics to where they pass under his My Carrier portal, and then they turn around and they send some asshole that doesn't even have a CDL, sir. Mm-hmm. Like we're going past the non-English side that you're talking about. They're not even allowed to operate, period, in the country, in any state for that matter. So
I just want to jump in here real quick on one thing, and it kind of 2 parts to what you gentlemen were just talking about. Number one, talking about the discussion about what it costs to run a truck. Again, you pass broker transparency, they're going to come to you and say, what does it actually cost to run a truck? So, I mean, that's a possibility. The other thing is that I've been reached out to by a lot of shippers, and it's interesting to see what they have to say, because one of the things that I'm hearing from shippers, so people who have the freight, is we're to the point of we're just not going to use certain drivers and we're going to put our own fleets together, and then we don't have to deal with this crap. We can keep it all in-house. And that's something, too, that I think there's a huge conversation being had is what's cheaper. And we've seen that happen in other industries, right? that they just keep it all in house. And I think that, I know as much as none of us want to admit this, we are in a recession. Spending was down. Spending was down for Black Friday, and everybody's like, "Well, it says that it was up 6%. Look at the inflation rate that easily accounts for what that's doing." But I mean, I think we've also got to be cognitively aware that these shippers are in a really tight situation too. I mean, those are the people with the freight, and if you're not going out and you're not understanding where your shipper's at, it's tough. I mean, shippers, businesses in general. I mean, it's not. I see all the time trucking companies are going out of business. We lost over 1.5 million jobs in November alone. And that's statistical. That's US backed data. So I think it's not just drivers who are having it. We are in a economic issue within our own country.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So I'm looking up right here. I'm going through the ATRI's report here that they released in July. And I'm trying to figure out where exactly it is, because I know it was like $2.25 a mile is what the cost was, and then the average rate for a driver was like 48 cents a mile or something, if I remember right. So
that $2.25 is probably including the 48 cents for whatever for the driver.
Well, when I actually looked at it,
$2.29. Again,
when I was looking at the report, they had it wasn't included.
Fuel,
the driver wage wasn't included.
Else.
So
carriers, if you include their stuff, then no.
Yeah.
No, it's
well,
nothing
that's
like
the thing.
what
It's
an
the
independent needs. And that's for the product.
No, it's not.
The first negotiation is with the truck. How
So,
truck needs. This is what I want for my services. That's what a broker is, a service.
We heard about half of what you were just saying.
Yeah, I didn't. He's got a battery signal or something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I got really bad service right here through this area by my house. But anyway, the first thing a broker is supposed to know is how much that truck needs. That's the first negotiation. A good broker will go to the trucks and say, what is your operating cost? What do you need to run my loads, right? And they'll get that data first. That's one of the biggest problems with brokers is they don't understand that they are an intermediate. They have two customers. Their customer is not just the person they're getting the load from. Their other customer is the person they're getting the load for. They have zero liability for the load, and they're fighting for
bullshit.
even less.
I'm going to stop you on that. Zero liability for the load right there.
Yeah. Hold on a minute here.
Do what?
Hold on a second. Let's just stop right here.
It is not have any liability.
Hold on.
It
is not.
The customer puts the liability on them.
Listen for a second here, guys, okay? You cannot, everybody's operating costs are a little different. And it is by no means a broker's responsibility to make sure that a carrier is profitable. What a broker's responsibility, or a freight forwarder, whatever you have going on there, because I work with both, along with direct shippers.
Can you do me a favor real quick? Go to CFR 371.3. Read it. Read it out loud. And tell me what
I've read it. I've read it.
Is it not categorized? Is it not categorized what the carrier made versus what the broker's
You actually have to
commission
go
was?
through 371, all the sections.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend the next hour reading the entire code of federal regulations, guys. But I can tell you this.
But
No,
if
I'm
you
talking
go
about
through,
just the 10 subsections under 371.
yeah, I get that. It's not a broker's responsibility to make sure that you're profitable. We're going to start with the first
No
one
one
here.
is saying that.
He did. He said that you need a broker's responsibility
Go look up.
is that you
Okay,
go through
and you even said that
and make sure.
You even said that the carrier's operational cost isn't that much different.
You want to know the operational cost? You go
It's
down and you look
within
at the price of
25 to
fuel.
30 cents.
I mean, it could be. It could also turn around, though, and I'm going to throw this one out here because we're going to talk about the entire enchilada here. At this point, I could also turn around and lose an engine tomorrow and have to drop $80,000. And when I say 80,000, I'm talking 50 grand for an engine, $30,000 for my bills while it's all being done. So now that just raised my operational costs. Yeah, but that just raised them exponentially.
You are supposed to have that in your operational costs figured in throughout the whole time you're in business.
Yep,
So
That way you are
371.3
putting that away.
is all about records kept by brokers. So
Yep.
what does that have to do with
Read the
brokers
bottom.
being
Read the bottom. Read C. Read C.
each party to a broker transaction
It's 9
has
or
the right
10.
to review the record of the transaction required to be kept by these rules. Now,
Okay,
let's
so
go one
if
step
they
further.
Knew that. If
No.
they knew that, they
Let's go
literally
step
would
one
stop going in and cutthroating all the rates.
Michael,
Look,
let
go
him
one.
finish.
Let's go one step further here. Now let's go to the United States Code 14101.
Yep.
Okay, because that code allows for the brokers to ask the carrier to do business with them to sign away that right to be able to review. And that is also in USC
Okay, go ahead and read that,
13102.
because that's actually being that's the reason that we're going after TQL's license right now, because that's under federal law.
You'll never go anywhere.
Can I interject something and just make this really simple? Let me make this incredibly simple. Let me ask you this question. The person who said, look at FMCSA code. Okay, great. FMCSA code says, right? FMCSA code is a code. It is a rule. It is not a law. There is no...
It is a regulation that is supposed to be enforced.
No,
Yep.
it is not.
Yep.
It is a
It
rule.
is backed up by U.S.
No.
code as well.
No, it is not.
Backed up by US
No, it is
code. Oh,
not.
yes, it
No,
is.
it is
Oh,
not.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Or-
it
No,
is.
it is not.
Chris, go ahead and read the code.
1307, 1309, 1310 are the ones that I found so far.
There
It
is
backed
no...
up by code. Yes, it is.
No,
yes,
it's not.
there is.
No, it is
there
not. It is not. It is not a federal law.
Code. It's backed
Okay,
up
if
by code
it's
to the
backed up
point
by
that the-
code, if it's backed up by code, then let me ask you this question. If it is backed up by code, then let me give you this scenario. I go and I buy a ream of paper from Office Depot, and I go to Office Depot
They
and
have
I
a
say, "Let me
cap.
finish.
I know where you're
let me
going.
finish." No,
They
you
have
don't
a
know where I'm
cap.
going. No, you don't know where I'm going. Let me finish. So I go to Office Depot and I say, my operating cost is so high that I need this ream of paper at 99 cents, not at the $2.38 that you're selling it to me for. What are they going to tell me? Go buy it somewhere else. It is not a law. It is a code. It is a suggestion of how an industry operates within it. If you do not like the FMCSA rules, you have to go to DOJ. DOJ interprets it. It is.
Brokers would love to say
I'm not a broker. I'm not a broker. I don't even own a damn truck. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the problem with this whole idea is that if you're going to apply the rules, and you're going to say that FMCSA is law, then that is going to apply across all industries. It is left up to the Department of Justice for interpretation. So this whole TQL thing, never going to go anywhere. This whole cheetah thing, never going to go anywhere because it is not based on law. It is based on code. And there are two differences. And that is the fundamental issue that this movement has is that you... No, it's
So
not.
here we go.
Here we go. You know, hold on,
49 U.S. Code 14101.
Why?
Why what? Why TQL?
Do you know why?
Cheetah isn't going anywhere?
TQ.
Because it won't.
Yeah, do you know why? You know why?
Why it won't go anywhere?
Yeah, it was a technicality.
Is that...
They got off on a damn technicality because they couldn't prove that that was actually from the FMCSA saying that it was an order for them to start following regulations.
No, if you read what the court order says, it says that it is merely a suggestion. It is not a law. That is straight from the court documents.
Yes,
that is all it is.
And she's right, bro. She's right. I'm going to put it up here. We're going to talk about, we want to talk about 371.3C here.
You know,
this whole right to review.
She actually sounds like the person that called me the other day and asked me to design what I'm designing for them and to put corporation. She actually sounds like that same person. She was saying her name was, what the hell was her name? Sounds like the exact same person.
I can guarantee you I have not called you to do anything for me because I don't work in your world.
Yeah, I really don't think. I really don't think that.
I could guarantee you this one.
I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Sandra.
It sounds like.
So, anyways, moving along.
The hell out.
Moving along here. Let's move along. So we want to talk about 371.3C, and we want to talk about the code that has to do with whether or not that is legal.
What I wanted you
right
to do
here.
is go read right there. The first one and I think the fourth one. They're categorized.
On 14101?
Right? It states, okay, I don't know, the 371.3, whatever the hell I told you to read it, it actually states in there that they are to keep track of the difference. Their commission versus the line haul. Their job is to make an arrangement with two people.
I'm aware of what a broker does.
Okay.
The thing of it is this. Broker transparency does nothing. This broker transparency, no, it doesn't.
Oh, yes,
no, it doesn't.
It wakes the carrier up to what money's actually
No, it
out
doesn't
there.
because you don't get the information until after you've hauled the load. All they gives you is the information.
That's right.
All it gives you, just shut up for a second and let me talk.
Yeah,
Shut up for a second and let me talk. All it gives you is the information to whether or not you haul for that broker again in the future. It's not like you can go after him after the load is hauled and the settlement is paid. It does no good. It does not do you any good. You don't get that information at the time of negotiating the load. That's what none of you ignorant sons of bitches are understanding.
It really does nothing. It really does nothing. Absolutely not a single thing. What they have on the books is not going to do anything. And actually going through and making sure that brokers had to tell you how much they make, now you open up yourselves to where you're having to tell every broker what you make.
Already is. Do you know what the brokers are going for? They want to know the last time you had a
You
fucking
realize
load.
they only show they. I already proved this to you in the private text.
They're pushing right now to know what your maintenance schedule is. Right
Okay,
now.
so, but the thing of it is this.
Right.
What does any of this
Everything.
371.3? Well, I'm trying to understand this. What does any of 371.3 have to do with whether or not you're going to be profitable? I don't understand. I've read it multiple times.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out where in here this makes sure that a carrier's profitable. It's the broker's responsibility to make sure a carrier's profitable.
Let me ask you a question. If you're hauling for $3.75 a mile right now and you find out they're getting $12 a mile on those loads, are you going to haul for $3.75? Just curious.
I don't know.
Are you going to do it? You don't care right now, but if there's more money that you can
look, let me explain this one to you. Let me explain this one. So let me explain this one to you because I also own a construction company, okay?
Okay.
And when I have a contractor come to me and we'll say that they've got 3 bathrooms that they need tiled, and I do a lot of tile work. So they come to me and they say, hey, I've got 3 bathrooms that need tiled. What can you work together a bid for me? And I go, well, need to talk to the customer. Need to sit down and talk with you. Can we set up a time to everybody sit down and talk? Yep, sure. So we sit down and talk.
Why?
We're going to go through.
Why?
We sit down and talk, and we go through and we get all of the information out here. Okay, this is what you want. This is what is going on. That is comparable to when I talk to a broker and I say, what's the product? Where's it being picked up at? Where's it going?
No, it's not. When did you talk to the shipper? No, you talk to their customer.
I don't care.
You talk to their customer.
I didn't talk to.
When did you talk to the shipper? When did you talk to the broker's customer? You didn't.
I don't need to.
Okay,
I
but
get
your
all the
meeting is
information
not,
there.
Your
If I
meeting
go
makes
through
no
and I
sense
sit
then.
down with a contractor, hold on. If I sit down with a contractor, I don't have to sit down with anybody else. I might sit down with them. I might.
You said it, the customer.
I
There's
might.
a doorway right there.
I might. This
Yeah,
is where
well,
you're not
you said
understanding.
it.
I might.
Your
I don't have
example
to.
just said
If
it.
the contractor, listen, this is the problem. You want to talk over everybody like you fucking know everything, and you don't. You're not even respectful
sure the
enough
hell
to
don't.
listen to anybody talk. Okay? You've done it to Mo. You try to do it to me. You've done it to Audrey. You literally won't even be respectful enough to let anybody else talk.
Audrey's screaming at me. Are you fucking kidding me?
Look at what I'm doing. I'm trying to talk, and you talk over me the entire time. The only way to be able to try to get a word in because you know everything.
Gaslighting doesn't work for me.
Why don't you just listen for a second and let other people talk?
Hey, Pastime, let me ask you this. Are you
Look, can I finish what I was saying here? Because I'm going to put together a correlation here. If I sit down and I am asked to do 3 bathrooms, and I sit down and they tell me what they want, I go through and I figure out what it's going to cost me in materials. Then I also figure out what it's going to cost me to be operational for those 3 days. After those 3 days, figure that all out. I go to the contractor and I say, look, this is what my bid is. If they accept that bid, it is not that contractor's responsibility if I find out down the road that they made $750,000 on the house. I don't get to come back later on and go, oh, well, I want money. I want more money now. Because this is the other thing. It is a supply and demand. And it's also a competitive market. And if I get too outlandish in my pricing for those tile jobs or drywall jobs, and there's other people that can come in and they're not trying to make $1 million off of one job, and they're being, I don't know, what do we say, responsible here? And you go through and they come in and they go, look, it's going to cost me $30,000 to do it in materials, and I'm willing to do it for $25,000 for the 3 days. So it's a $55,000 job. And I walk in there and I say, well, it's going to cost, I want $60,000 for it. If they can show, hey, this is my work, this is their work, it's comparable work, but I'm wanting $5,000 more, the contractor's going to go with the 55. It's comparable work. So that's what's going to happen. And I don't get to go, I'm not going to come back the next time when I find out that the contractor paid out $55,000 for the job and he made $750,000 off of the house. I'm not going to come back the next time and go, well, since I know you made $750,000, I'm going to charge you $75,000 now. Because what's going to happen is that same guy that went in there and was competitive with his pricing and said, well, it's basically the same things we did last time, so I'm going to do it for $55,000. And he's going to look at me and go, well, you're $20,000 above it now, so you lost that job too.
You realize you're trying to compare apples to oranges, right?
No, it's
Because
nobody
you're
else's
comparing
business
a
what
house,
anybody's making.
A whole house, building a whole house versus
It's nobody
doing
else's
tile
business.
work.
It's nobody else. What I'm saying is it's nobody else's business what anybody else is making.
Okay,
It's none of my business what Mo makes. It's no business of mine what Audrey makes. It's no business of mine what Chris makes. It's no business of mine what Pastime for Change makes. No different than it ain't none of y'all's business what I make.
Well, again, I'm not forcing anything on anybody. Why do you think I'm forcing anything on anybody? Why do you guys keep on saying that I'm forcing anything? I'm changing the fucking system. Okay?
You're wanting to make it. You're wanting to make the system.
My deal.
Make it to where everybody knows
My
what
deal
everybody's
is actually
making.
allowing all drivers.
No, it's
No,
not.
I give a shit less about that. The only thing that's going to do is it's going to wake people up to what actually is out there. What I'm doing is actually saving the customer money once we get it out there.
And
You're
I
not gonna
think
save the
you guys
customer.
you're absolutely
I'm
surprised. You would be
You're
absolutely
not going to save
surprised
the
if
customer
you
money.
what loads.
Okay, if
You-
you'd be absolutely surprised, show us the transparency. If we'd be absolutely surprised, that's my argument right there.
Is
You
that
will
why we know that
never show
fucking
that
California
transparency.
to Washington paid
So-
$12,000 on the dry load
Look,
and only
I'm
paid
going to
the
put it to you
carrier
this way.
35?
I do work
Yep.
with,
Is
I
that
work
why
with
we know that
traders,
somebody makes
and I work with
$90,000?
brokers. I work with traders and I work with brokers. And periodically, some of those brokers that I
Right.
work with do pull loads from the same traders I work with. Because I'll be in an area somewhere and I don't really have time to look. So I call that broker and I'm like, or I'll shoot him a text and be like, hey, find me a load out of Albany. I ain't got time to mess with this right now. I've got a load that's being a pain in the ass to get off. I need you to find me a load. They'll go, and I already know when they do it because I'll see it come across and I'll be like, yeah, I know what that is. Because either that or I've already gotten the email that shows me what the loads are. And I know that they're pulling 10%. I know what these traders are making, dude. The thing of it is this. Everybody got up in a roar because TQL was caught pulling 40% of the load. Well, this is the thing. If that load
47.
paid
47.
whatever it was, I don't care whether it was 65. Pink Cheetah agreed to haul the load for that price.
Oh, amen to that right
Exactly.
there.
Exactly.
She agreed to haul that load for that price. At that point, it doesn't freaking matter. If that load was not profitable for her, she shouldn't have fucking took it. You don't get to come back and go, I made a mistake, now you owe me more money.
Yeah, that's correct. And when you're calling on a
He's not
load and you
even
don't have the
trying to
spine
get
and the
more
nut
money
sack to
out
tell
of
him
the
no,
load.
That's it.
They don't even know. They don't know how that was actually set up. But you think we've been
So,
doing
did they-
this for
So,
days?
so hold on.
wait.
So what you're telling me
you
is
think this is a
TQL
day or two?
So what you're telling me is that TQL took more money than what she had agreed. So we'll just say that
Oh.
Pink Cheetah agreed for a $2 a mile rate and they only paid her $1.75.
Agreed for shit. What do you mean agreed to? You don't agree to nothing.
She signed a
when you call
rate
broker.
con.
Do you not understand how? Do
You
not
signed a
understand
rate
how
con.
broker works?
If you say yes,
I
send
sign
me
rate
the
cons
load,
every
and
day.
you sign the rate confirmation back over. You accepted the fucking load. You accepted that rate.
Yeah,
That rate
You know how
was for
cheap-
you. It doesn't matter.
Hey.
Matter what the other person made.
Another
You
fun
accepted the
fact.
rate.
Another fun
Another
fact.
fun fact: the broker will lie to you and tell you it delivers on a Monday when they know damn well it doesn't.
It's
deliver
on your
till Friday.
fucking. It's on your
It's
rate
on
card.
your rate con. It's
Right.
on the rate
And how
con.
many drivers
No, it
lie
isn't.
and say, "Oh, we broke down," or "Oh yeah, this driver speaks English," or this or that or the other, or "Oh yeah, we got good tarps."
Well, you know why?
You know what? Because you
you
fuckers
guys
lie all
wanted
the time
cheaper
too.
labor.
No.
You wanted
You know why
cheaper
they
labor.
lie?
You did it.
You know why they
ATA
lie?
and TIA brought them in.
No. Look, dude, this is the thing. And I'm going to just put it this way. Unless TQL did not pay Pink Cheetah the full amount on the rate con, they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong.
The thing that's
They
wrong.
gave her a rate con that said X amount of dollars. It was to be picked up on this day, at this time, delivered on this day to this location at this time for X amount of cost. That's what every rate con says. Other than maybe some of them have pay order numbers and things of that nature.
or if it's
but
a
the
blind
majority-
shipment.
Or if it's a blind shipment.
Yeah,
there
blind
is that
shipment
one.
should be
Thank you,
illegal.
Lord.
Why are you hauling freight where somebody doesn't know where it's going or coming
They
from?
know.
That's
They
how
know
you
exactly
get,
where it's
no,
going.
They know
no,
exactly
that's
where
how
it's
you're
going.
getting all these loads
Okay.
stolen.
The reason
No.
for a blind shipment, because apparently everybody's so fucking ignorant here, is
Whoa.
there's times-
Yeah, easy.
No,
Because the customer doesn't want you to know where it's coming from. That's why.
No shit.
There is
And that's their
times
right.
where
We're changing that.
Right,
We're changing
right.
that.
You'll never
There-
change
Shipments
that.
Why?
will be known
You'll
where-
never
oh,
get
yes,
that done.
we are.
The
You'll never
problem
change
is
it.
there's times where stuff
Okay.
is bought. People come to us. People will come to a supplier and say, "Hey, I want this
Yeah.
stuff." The
You know the
supplier
reason
doesn't
why
have it
you
on
have to
hand,
have
so they pick it
$75,000?
direct. So they pick it direct and drop it straight to the customer, but they don't want to lose that customer, so they just have it as a blind shipment. There's
Yeah,
nothing
that's-
illegal
Or-
about that. It's
or
pretty
it's-
goddamn
or-
simple.
Or it's supposed to be cross-docked somewhere, and that doesn't happen, and it becomes a direct shipment.
Yeah,
All,
cross done.
read it again. All information to the shipment is known by all of the people involved in said shipment. Read
What
it again.
regulation is that?
And tell
Show
me
me
it's
the
wrong.
regulation.
What
That's the
regulation is that?
transparency.
Show
You
me
read
the
it.
regulation. Your perception
read
of
it.
transparency is not the regulation or the requirement.
No, it's broker records keeping. All
And that you're not
parties
entitled
involved.
to. I thought Mike
All
already did Mother Goose and read this shit.
involved.
I did.
All parties involved.
No, you have to request
That's
it
what it
after the
says.
fact. After the fact, it's already fucking done. What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Nothing.
It's a waste of time.
What are you going to do about
Actually,
it?
it's
You're right,
not
that you
because
can't.
it gives.
You know what you're going to do about it? Don't haul the load. Say no. Grow a spine to hold
I
up your
do.
nuts and
I
don't
do.
haul the load.
Exactly.
I do. I don't haul for brokers ever again. And I'm pushing that
Here's the
message.
fucking problem. Brokers actually push that it's market rate. But yet
Correct.
they've got 60, 70, 80.
Market
I've even
rate
had a
because of
broker tell
supply
me he
and
made
demand.
100% by moving 2 loads for the price of 1.
You know what?
Yep.
Carriers do the same thing,
That
though.
is
Listen,
crazy.
carriers go in there and
No, they
say
don't.
my operating cost is $4 a mile. That's what I need, but then they turn around and haul it for $1.75. So you're a liar, just like the rest of them.
Yeah, I can tell you right now. I can.
33.
It's
I
literally
can tell you right now,
so
I've
easy.
never
There's-
gone
I've-
under my
I have read-
operational cost.
If
Never.
I deny
if-
Never,
I've
ever.
if I
deadheaded-
accept a load,
I've deadheaded 2,700 fucking miles because I
Then you
couldn't
went
get
under your
one
operating
broker.
expense because you deadheaded. That's simple
No,
math.
I didn't.
Oh, bullshit. You didn't
I
get
didn't
paid.
haul the load. So
Right, but you're still under
it
your
would've cost
operating
me the
expense.
same. It would have still cost me the same. Even if I would have took a load for $1.80, it would have broke me even.
Then your operating
Just at-
expense
at
is
the
what?
same-
$3.60 a mile? I'm doing the math right now. Isn't it $3.60 a mile?
No, it's not.
Well, then why didn't you haul it for $1.80? You said I'm not mathing here.
Why would you haul
You gotta
anything
figure
for
you
$1.80?
get better fuel mileage, plus you're saving on wear and tear.
Oh,
when
don't-
you're
don't-
deadheading.
Don't forget.
So no,
that you
hold on.
actually
You're
don't have
not
a
saving
day
on
tied
wear and
up.
tear. Look, let's look
Yeah.
at this.
Yeah, you
everything in this
are.
industry,
Yes, you
no,
are.
everything
Because
in this
you ain't got
industry
the weight.
is average. No, everything in this industry is based on averages. Okay.
Yeah, it
everything
is.
in this industry is based off averages. So this whole
Okay, so
nonsense
averages.
of you're saving wear and tear. The last time I checked, my engine, it doesn't matter whether I run empty or whether I run loaded.
That's false.
I usually have the same amount of usage on the oil. With my oil samples, I have the same amount of usage regardless. I get the same amount of usage of the oil regardless whether it's 30,000 loaded
That's
or
maintenance.
30,000
That's
empty.
not wear
You-
and tear.
well, what is-
Usage
well, what
on
do you-
your oil
well,
is
hold on.
Wear and tear
Maintenance-
would be
hold
on
on.
your
If
drive
maintenance
train
happens,
and your
wear and tear.
engine.
maintenance happens, hold on. Maintenance happens due to wear and tear. Because the wear and tear on the brakes is why you have to maintenance them, or I should say,
Okay, so
replace
tell me
them.
this. Tell
Wear
me
and tear
this.
on your tires is why you have to replace them or maintenance them. Wear and tear on the oil is why you have to maintenance it or replace it. The wear and
Tell
tear
me
is
this.
no different.
Why does a truck that doesn't run the mountain areas, terrains, get more mileage before
Fuel
they
mileage?
actually have to do it? No.
Fuel mileage? Or what kind of
Well,
mileage are we
fuel
talking?
mileage.
Okay, fuel mileage
Or
because it takes
doing
more
it
power to
in-
climb a.
in
Okay,
frame.
hold on.
Oh, let's talk
It
in
takes
frame.
more-
I'm ready for this one.
It takes more fuel. The more power you want, the more fuel you have to
Yes.
use. Okay, well,
Yes.
it takes more power to climb a fucking mountain than it does to go flat.
And it puts more
Sir
wear and
Isaac
tear
Newton
on
proved
that
this.
drivetrain
That
and
no.
the engine as well.
So part of the
Dude.
problem with an in-frame happens to be if you're not maintaining, number one. Number two, it has to do with the engine manufacturer. I have a cat sitting in my frickin'
Yeah,
shop
it
with
does.
over 200,000 miles on it, and it's been in-framed 3 times, and that's it. Now I have X15s that make it about 600,000 miles, and guess what? They need a fucking in-frame, and they all do the same shit. So no, blowing out your analogy, pal.
And I got a cat sitting in the truck in,
And I
in my truck
guarantee
in
you,
Texas
those are
with
the
1.98
difference between
million
those
that's
is
been
the
touched
DPS.
once.
There you go.
But we run Schaefer's oil and we do oil sampling and we do all the things right.
Yeah,
And I
the
run
thing of it
mountains
is
every
this-
fucking day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're running mountains or flat.
You run
look,
what?
We
I
run
don't, I'll
mountains.
tell you right now. Okay, well, let me ask this, Laura, because I know you got a fleet, hon. So
Yep.
I know you got more than one truck.
Damn
If
right.
you were to only run that one of your trucks, we'll just say, because I know you got a couple of them that are somewhat spec the same. If you take one of those trucks and run it in the mountain, and you normally run your trucks, and I don't know what your maintenance plan is, but we'll say 50,000 miles is your oil change spec.
Every 10,000 miles on my cats.
Okay, so every 10,000 miles. Does it matter whether it runs flat ground or a mountain when you run it, when you change it oil?
Nope.
Okay, just curious. I was wondering. Okay, so
Maintenance
it's every
is- maintenance
10,000
is
regardless.
maintenance. Yep.
That's what I thought. I'm apparently I don't know what I'm doing after 30 years of being in the industry, so I'm learning here. So,
Mike, I'll come over and hold your hand. We can do this together, I promise you.
thank you. Maybe I'll get it figured
So-
out. I don't know.
Let me explain this one to you, okay? You guys are going off the rails on this deal because
Not really.
I left North Carolina. I deadheaded 700 and some odd miles up to Marshall, Missouri. Actually, it was like 820 up to Marshall, Missouri. I was getting 4,200 out of North Carolina, right? Or I got 4,000 out of Marshall, Missouri. Which one are you going to take? Because this is what people don't understand. Go to a different area. Don't pick that up. Why are you picking that load up? Because it pays for my fuel. Okay, so you're screwing the person that actually lives there. So how about I come to your area, and just because I don't need to take the load, I don't need to make the money because I'm trying to get back to my money, I'm going to screw your area. Instead, I just leave that area. You know what that does?
You're not
Makes
going to
it so the
screw
broker
anybody's
has-
area.
Oh, yeah.
People
You're
screw
not.
themselves.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's-
are. You take that
You're
load
not.
for cheap, it makes it cheap in that area.
That's not how that works.
It's 100% how it works.
Dude, you are
No.
delusional. Come to Denver. Run around here for a while. Let me see how well you do.
You know what? I get $3.25 a mile out of Denver.
Goody for you. When was that?
Is that
I can
loaded
get it
miles?
right now. That's loaded miles. I'm not going to tell you where or anything else because I'm going to be using that.
Because hold on, I'm just going to throw this one out here, there, Bubba, because I know somebody coming out of the Denver area that's averaging like 290 all miles, and that's going out and coming
Okay.
back.
Damn, who's that?
So
Okay.
that's I don't know, but I think I'll remember their name here in a minute.
Yeah.
But I can just
This
tell
is
you
the problem
that
right
that's
here.
like $6
Mac Daddy.
a loaded mile.
It's Mac
Yeah,
Daddy.
it is
But-
Mac Daddy. It is. It's Mac Daddy. That's all right.
But he's probably
You know,
also not pulling brokered freight. He went and got his own damn customers, it sounds like.
actually,
I get
that
$3.25
Mac
a
Daddy's a
mile.
bad motherfucker. Is all I'm going to say, because that's the only name I'm going to use. And Mac Daddy's a bad motherfucker.
Have you
Just
ever
so
met
know.
that bastard?
I talked to him a couple times on the phone.
Yeah.
It
He'll
gets to
make
be
you piss your
interesting.
pants.
It almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
You damn tootin'. Yep.
Yeah, we know some of the same people. So, but that's at 290. That's 580. See, what you got to understand is this: if you're going to, we're also going to, we're talking here now, spot market rates versus contract rates, and that's two horses of two totally different colors. Because the spot market is where contract freight, one of your customers that you have contract freight is, they come to you and they say, "Look, we've got this load. They don't want to pay that for the shipping. Are you willing to haul it for X amount of dollars?" And the contract carrier has two options, yes or no. If they say yes, they take the load. If they say no, the load goes out on the spot market. Now, if you aren't happy about the spot market rates, you just need to get the rejection rate to go up. When the rejection rate goes up, then the freight rates go up. But spot market...
Oh, we can't get the rejection rate to go up because you're taking it. Because it's fuel money, right?
He didn't say that.
When have I ever said that? When have I ever said that?
You guys are saying that getting a good load out of there, you can't get a good load, you just take the rate. You don't leave it, you take it.
When did I say that?
You're not listening at all, are you? You're so worried.
Neither are you.
You're so victim. You got the victim mentality so bad that you're not even listening to what people are telling you.
I'm so
really don't
lost
care what
because
you
I
do.
never
Hey,
once said...
pastime. What's your fuel surcharge?
What's yours? Mine's
50
parked.
cents
I
a
don't
mile
haul
right
cheap
now.
freight. Mine's
50
parked.
cents
I don't
a
haul
mile.
cheap freight.
Yeah, mine's 52.
Mine's parked. I don't
so-
haul cheap freight.
50 cents a
I don't
mile
haul
on top
cheap
of the
freight.
rate, buddy.
I do not haul cheap freight.
Then what's your fuel surcharge? Answer the question.
Yeah.
What is it? What is your fuel surcharge per mile? You should know that from last week. What is it?
Yeah.
And how do you
I mean,
calculate it? Are you calculating it now?
He's going to Google it.
He went through and muted his mic. So I don't know. I'm waiting on the answer. So
Well, 50 cents a mile. And the week before that, it was 51 for me. And the week before that, it was 52. Oh, it's going down because the price of fuel's going down.
yeah.
Funny fact is, I make a shit ton of money off of fuel surcharge because of our good old government. It's the only goddamn good thing they've done so far. Pardon my French.
Yep. Oh, I know it. I mean, I don't get to do a lot with fuel surcharge because of the genre I'm in. But when I do, I know what my rate is. So
Yeah, but when you take a load, you already are calculating in your fuel surcharge because you already know what it is every single week to try to compensate.
I do. You're right.
And it's not
know
even
what my
based
costs
on
are.
what you pump into your tank. It's based on the regions that you're running.
Well, the way I do mine is I base mine off of my fuel mileage and the EIA price, and that's how I base mine off of.
DOE?
Yeah, the DOA EIA price.
Department of Energy.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday, unless it's a holiday.
And for some reason, I don't have any. Why is my thing not working? It doesn't want to pull up my OneDrive here to pull it up. Oh, son of a gun.
David McCowan. That's great. You know, we should get together. We should join groups.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. If you're not, when we talk about the broker transparency, and like I said, nobody has, not a single person has yet to say anything of proving that a broker transparency is a hoax, because it is. So, I mean,
it's not a hoax. The appropriate word for that, it's a misinterpretation.
Well, see, I guess maybe you could say that, yeah. Because if you look at what's on the books right now for it, it doesn't do anything for transparency. And the reason why I say it doesn't is because you've already agreed to take the load. You've already delivered the load. A lot of people are running factoring companies, so they've already submitted the paperwork. And then you're still going to be looking at like 3 to 5 business days to get the information, which means you could have potentially pulled 2 or 3 more loads for them, not knowing the cost of what not knowing what they're making you're charging. So yeah, it's the biggest. Yeah, it does nothing whatsoever.
I have a question. So
Okay.
I haul cars, so everything I haul is direct freight, right? But if you guys are worried about the transparency from the broker, why not go get your own freight and not have to worry about it?
I do.
No, I know you do. I
mean,
talked to you before.
Yeah, you do.
That's
Laura
what I've been
does.
asking.
Mo does. Audrey is in politics. She doesn't really want anything to do with getting contract freight. So,
No, I'm talking to that pastime guy mainly.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, it's, yeah.
And people that have contract rate, we have to worry every goddamn second one of you guys are going to come cutthroat me.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be united, but they're not afraid to fuck you tomorrow.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem.
Is the number of people that are bitching about rates and everything else. How many of them are company drivers? Number one. And
They don't even know the rate.
they don't even know the rates. They're getting paid a rate per mile. And like I was looking up one day the difference because I've had drivers out of Arkansas. I've lived in Montana. I've got drivers that have worked for me that are out of Arkansas, Texas, Montana. You know, looking at Idaho. And you go to all these different states, and the average rate for an over-the-road driver varies between states. But they don't see that. But there again, it's a supply and demand thing.
Well, and part of the reason those driver rates are set that way is we're right back to where we were before because people accept it. I have a friend who's driven for a company for 20 years, dry van company. They haul broker freight from Denver to Chicago and back. 20 years he's been driving, and he's accepting 48 cents a mile, and he's happy with it. Happy with 48 cents a mile after 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
And he's happy.
but the difference is where he lives. Apparently, he can pay his bills and be comfortable.
Correct.
There again, you know, we go back to the broker transparency and the rates and everything. I don't care how much a broker makes. In fact, the funny thing is, I've got a TQL broker that we help each other out. He'll call me, he goes, hey man, this is not my area. Do you know any carriers? I don't even, and again, this is TQL. When he calls me and says, hey, I got a load, and if I got a truck in the area, I don't even bother asking him the rate because I know he's always fair to me. I don't care what he makes off the top of the load as long as I get what I need.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'll come back and say the rate usually, and I'll go, you know, you got a little bit on it, and he works with me.
Wait a minute. You actually negotiate and you just don't say yes?
Right?
That's a novel concept, folks. That's a novel concept. Absolutely
it's
novel.
not even just about trucking. It's about your daily life. If you have $5 in your pocket and milk $6 and you need milk, you either pay the $6 or you accept the 5 or the 6. The other way around, like you got to make good decisions for yourself, whether you're in trucking or not, and that is half of the problem. People are lazy. They want everything handed to them. They want the shipper to knock on their door and say, hey, you have trucks? Great, I have loads. That's not how it works.
Nope, because it's a competitive market. It's a very competitive market because there are a lot of us in this industry. You know, we have 336,000 authorized carriers as of the end of October. I haven't looked to see what it is at the end of November. I don't even know if they've even got those numbers out there yet. But when there's 336 million or 336,000 carriers and almost 3 million drivers, that's a lot of freight to be moved. So there's a lot of it's hugely competitive.
The problem is if you're pulling freight off of the spot market, off of the load boards, you are a commodity.
Yes.
You are a commodity.
Yeah. Yep, without a doubt.
Versus offering a service like if you're doing contract freight.
So
Yep.
what happens
Well, and
when
this is
those
where-
people that are working off the spot market go into your business and say, I can haul it for less, and they come to you and they're hauling it for less than what you can haul it for. Then you're going to come in here and say, oh, that's not
Welcome
fair.
to trucking.
It's business.
Welcome to trucking.
And
I'm going to tell you,
Okay.
a competitive market.
I'm tired of
This is the
people
whole idea of,
crying about it.
so what you want is you want communism. That's what you want. You want communism.
I didn't say communism.
Well, no, you want everybody to be able to play.
Hold on. Let me go get Chris. Chris did this one to you the other day. Let's go get Chris. Who's communist? Let's do this again. Hold on. Let me go get Chris real quick.
Oh,
You want it to where everyone can play. That's exactly what he wants. He wants to where everyone can play. It doesn't work that way.
I've got customers that tell me, and they laugh about it, saying that so-and-so has come in and trying to cut your rate. And they laugh about it, and then they say, and here's your loads for next week. Because I am not a commodity, I offer a service. And they appreciate my service, and they like my service, and I do well for them.
There's one thing about it.
They pay me above market.
You have to look at a lot of this, though, as well. When it comes to contract, and we've all, a lot of us in here have written contracts and signed contracts with different shippers and manufacturers, okay? And when you sit down and you do this, some of these contracts are for 6 months. Some of these contracts are for a year. The thing of it is this. If this person, it will say, and we'll just say me, okay? I come in as a outsider, and you've just signed a contract with Joe's Sucker Company, okay? Because you think you're going to, you went in there, you sold yourself, and you're going to do a great job for them. You guys signed a year-long contract. If I walk in there and I say, well, I can do it for this, it doesn't matter. The contract's still there for the year. Could they go through and go potentially, okay, yeah, we're going to go through, and at the end of our contract here, we're going to, we'll look at it with you, is what I'm going to get told. But if the contract's written for a year to haul these loads, then that's what the contract says. You're not going to steal that contract. It doesn't work that way. The contract's written for a year span. That's how the contract's written.
Show me any contract that doesn't say that either party can cancel at any time for any reason. Show me one.
I would if I didn't have a fucking non-disclosure agreement. I would show it to you.
Most contracts don't have that, because the reason being is basic contract law says that if you violate the contract, the person who violated the contract is eligible to collect triple damages. I don't care if that's a contract to get a toenail removed or a freight contract. That's basic contract law. If it is written in your contract that both people can terminate, yes, you can do that. But most contracts, and I'll be honest with you, I've been studying these freight contracts. They don't have it in there. These guys go in and they're set for a set period of time, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 36 months even I've seen. And the fact of the matter is that there's not a termination clause that doesn't say, the only termination clause is that, failure to perform. And that's a whole contract law discussion that I'm not going to get into because it's just going to get way too complicated. But the thing is that no, if a shipper signs a contract with you and they say, okay, you have this contracted rate or you have this lane for XYZ amount of time, more than likely they are not going to put in a termination clause, because then they're just as liable. Shippers, carriers, and all that are trying to protect liability. That gets into why insurance is so high. It's a risk liability thing for businesses.
What he's talking about, Audrey, on where they say what he's talking about, where they say that it can be done at any time, that's a broker carrier agreement. I've never signed a contract that states that we can terminate this at any time. I've never signed a contract on any of my construction jobs that do that. I've never signed a contract on any of the direct ships that I've done. None of that's ever happened. There's nothing in there that states that. Broker carrier agreements, yes, they state that. Every fucking one states that. That you are not beholden to them, and they're not beholden to you.
Being we're going back to the contractor thing, can we go to the fact that you actually know what all the supplies are and what the actual cost is, and there's actually a system that is actually set up that you can't, you stay within?
What system?
Can we go back to that?
What system's set up? I know what my costs are.
He can explain it to you.
Well, I know what my costs are.
I can go get Marlon and he can explain it to you.
I know what my costs are for my materials. I know what the cost is to get my truck and trailer back and forth to the job site. I know what I need to make on a daily basis to pay my personal bills. So yes,
then you're
that's
able
no
to
different
negotiate
than
that, right?
and no different than I can negotiate with a broker or a trader because I know what my fuel cost on
No,
the
you
load's
can't
going to be.
negotiate with a broker.
You're
Are
going
you
home?
kidding me?
Oh boy.
Yes, you can.
What,
And
wait a
work
minute.
this morning?
Because we brought in all the
Okay,
cheap
well, he
labor
showed up.
to actually run us out. You
All right.
can't negotiate with a broker. They hang up on
you
you.
taking the
Well,
third
I can
turn?
get it hauled. I can get it hauled for this all day long.
There's a difference between trying to negotiate a fare rate
Okay, Chris is
to a
back. Let's
broker
talk
and
about
asking
communism.
for another 30%.
But let's talk about communism.
So you're saying the fare rate
I
is what the market rate
negotiate
is.
every load
That
that I
doesn't
do.
even consider operational cost for the service.
Actually, I know my operational cost, and I pull it up.
Pastime, how much does it cost you to operate?
Do what?
What is
His
your
trucks are
operating
parked.
cost?
Zero. I don't haul cheap freight. My shit's
What is
parked.
cheap freight?
You didn't even
What is
answer
cheap
the
freight?
question.
What is
She
cheap
asked
freight?
you what your
Cheap freight?
operational cost was, and you said zero. You're not even
Zero.
listening, Pastime. You're not even listening. She
Because
asked what it
he's
cost
not
you
even
to,
running his
what?
to
truck.
turn the
You
truck
don't
on and drive it down the
understand
road.
I don't. My truck's parked. I start it once a week. I won't
Do you
haul
even
your
own a
fucking
truck?
freight.
Jesus.
Yes, I do. Lock, stock, and barrel.
What is your operation cost when you are operating?
I don't know. It's been 2 years. I don't care. You don't
Why you-
understand what I'm doing.
Oh, time out.
You have
to
zero
care. If you're in
idea
a
what I'm
group
doing.
And the title of your thing is Pastime for a Change, and you're only changing it for nobody because you don't care. That doesn't make any sense.
What the hell are you talking about?
Exactly. What are you talking about? Pastime for a Change. What are you trying to
creating
do?
a system where anybody can go get freight, no matter how many trucks you have.
So screw your fellow
I'm gonna
trucker.
get
That's
it.
exactly what you
So
just
that
said.
is, look,
How
anybody
is-
right there. He just said it. So anybody can go do it.
Yeah,
So
anybody
anybody
get their
can
own
go do
freight.
it. That is called communism
How's that called communism?
because
Because
anybody
I'm
can do it.
letting
Then
anybody have the capacity just like a broker does. Brokers shouldn't
What?
have anything other than what they own,
You
the
realize
fucking truck.
communism is actually control, right?
Why are you
That's
even
exactly
relevant in
what
this
you're
conversation?
What do you mean? Why am I even relevant in this competition?
you're not even a carrier.
Yeah,
I am a carrier.
I didn't say competition. I said conversation.
Conversation because I'm starting a system that allows any carrier out there to actually go get their loads.
What are you going to charge them for the system?
I'm not charging them shit.
Okay, I want
See,
that in writing
that-
because if you
that's
actually get
what
it to
you
the
don't
finish
understand.
line, you're going to be charging people. That's what you're going to do.
To be a
What-
member
what the
of
hell are you
Pastime
talking about?
for a Change, there is no cost.
What the fuck are you? You have no idea what I'm doing.
You don't
The only
either.
thing that broker transparency is going to do is it's going to wake people up to how much money's actually out there and how much the
Look,
brokers
you,
have been
if you
fucking
want to know
lying
how
to us
much
for
money
years.
is actually out there, why don't you look
I
up the
know how much
10K
it is.
reports of
I
all of the
know
publicly
how
traded
much it is.
carriers? And I'm going to tell you right now, if you've looked at the 10K reports like I have on all the mega carriers, they're averaging around 350 to 375 a mile.
Why
That's
are mega
contract
carriers
freight,
going out
not
of business
spot
right
market
now?
freight. That's not
Why
spot
are
market,
mega
that's
carriers
contract
going
freight.
out of business right now? Why are mega carriers going out of business right now?
Well, which one are we talking about? Because there's been multiple different
10 roads
reasons.
and CRST right now.
CRST
And
is
more
not going
than
out of business. That's not true.
Yes,
That's
they
the biggest
are.
bunch
They
of
are.
bullshit. No, it's not.
Yes, they
They're
fucking
no.
are.
I know a driver, a company driver that is working for CRST.
CRST
I
is
can-
going
Gave
out of
them the
business.
notice already.
I could
They're
speak
not
on
going
10
out of
roads.
business.
Okay, you're
I
Yeah.
could speak on 10 roads.
you're hopeless.
10 roads.
Swear to
10
God.
roads is going out of business. It's because of the U.S. Postal Service decided to take a lot of their routes back in-house, and 10 roads is not set up to operate as a freight company. So
Yeah, all
before
they
I
do is
started,
haul mail. All they do is haul mail.
Yep, that's all they do. So, and CRST, they literally released a thing that said that they made that statement falsely.
Yellow went out of business, what was it, last year or the year before?
Yellow went out of business due to multiple different lawsuits that were against them. They had issues with fines and stuff against them. Obviously, they were not operating under some of the more.
TQL and Coyote got majority of their contracted freight, and they even said that.
Well, somebody's got to pick up the freight when they go out of business.
Yeah,
Right.
and they said that their rates were way too low.
Right here, 3 days ago, FreightWaves. My apology to CRST, I got it wrong. Right here, I'm looking at it. Released December 4th. Written by Craig Fuller,
Okay, so they're
CEO
covering
at
it up.
FreightWaves.
So they're covering it up.
Oh, God,
They're not
no.
covering nothing up.
Well, hey, Pastime, you know about why all these carriers are going out of business, and you've been in business for a while, right? Like in the industry.
34 years.
Okay, tell me why MW went out of business.
Who?
Exactly. Tell me why HVH went out of business.
Those aren't big carriers.
The fuck they're not. HVH was a huge carrier. Guess who they hauled for? Caterpillar.
You.
Pastime.
Okay.
So here we go.
Why did-
Right here is it.
why-
Right here. I finally got through all the fucking ads and stuff. The company had simply shifted about 200 trucks out of its irregular route OTR operation into other profitable and more successful divisions. CRST remains strong and healthy. It's literally
Okay,
right
we'll
there at
see.
freightwaves.com. They're not going out of business.
I don't give a shit what FreightWaves says, to be honest with you.
Well, they're the ones that initially
They're
reported
saying
it.
what they're saying whatever people
Really,
want them to say that are in charge. They're part of the monopoly.
Actual company driver.
If
No,
you
they're
want to know,
smarter. They're listening to FreightWaves. Don't worry about it, Chris. It doesn't matter what actual drivers are saying.
if you want to know if they're a large
Yeah.
carrier and they're going out of business, go to the Warren report, WARN. It
Yep.
is a federal report. And if they are going out of business, it has to be posted 90 days before they go out of business. That is
Yep.
a federal law.
Oh, that's where I was going next, Audrey. I'm already there with you, hon. So we're literally pulling up Warren here right now. So
I've had enough of the greasy. I'm gonna go make some money.
yeah, I wish I could, but I don't deliver until Monday, sir. So you have a good
No,
day.
you're not. You're gonna go make pennies. You're gonna go make pennies.
Okay, yeah. You whatever.
You're gonna go make pennies.
He's gonna make more than you, Pastime. You ain't even driving.
I fucking highly doubt that. I work for somebody. I make more than you guys do.
Oh, okay. When did you start counting my money, buddy? Because if you're counting my money, I'm going to count yours.
Count mine. I don't give a shit. It's on my
Yeah,
tax
you ain't
return.
got shit compared to some of these other people in this room, and you're over there yapping your lips like you do. Most people
I
that
don't
run
need
around
to.
bragging they got a swinging eggplant don't have nothing.
I don't need to.
I average
Again,
about
you have no
$7 a
idea
mile.
what I'm
so.
doing. The only
You don't
thing
have any
transparency
idea
is
what
going to
anybody's
do
doing,
is
but you're
wake
going to tell them
people
what
up.
they're doing.
The only thing that transparency is going to do is wake people up. I could give a shit less.
No, it's not.
You know what's going to
It's
wake
not
people
gonna wake
up is
anyone
when they
up.
get their ass out of bed and actually go to work and quit pissing and moaning about everything.
When people find out that they're getting paid $10 a fucking mile, they're not going to haul it for $2.50. I fucking promise.
The only people
Well,
that are
somebody
making
else
those
will,
kind
you
of
will.
rates. Hold on. The only people making $10 and
No, I
$12 a mile rates are heavy haul loads.
No,
That's the
really?
only ones that
See,
are
that's
making
what
those
you don't
kind of rates.
understand. That's what you don't understand. A dry box load, I was fucking told by the shipper he was paying $12,000 for an 1,100 mile run.
You're crazy.
Dry
You're
box.
crazy.
Well, the news media
You're
say we
crazy.
have a driver shortage. Are you going to believe that too?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm crazy.
Is that why
No, you're not crazy, but you don't want to.
Hold
You
on,
don't want to
Johnny,
work with
Johnny,
anybody else because you
Johnny,
know
Johnny,
everything.
John Rogers, hold on. John Rogers said that he makes $9,000 on a load, and he fucking gives it to a carrier for $3,200. And the
Did you count his money?
Carrier's happy and gave me the information to his customer and
said
everything
it on
else.
Did you count his money? Did you count his money?
He said it.
You know what?
No,
I can
you
tell
did not.
how much-
So it's
I can
more
tell you
lip
numbers
service.
all day long.
$2.8 million.
How do you know that?
Is that gross or is
What
that
I'm
profit?
saying, what people are telling me, he told me.
That's the
He
problem.
told me.
People. Here we're right back to where I said
Hold on.
before. People are the problem.
Is he making 2.8 million gross or 2.8 million profit? Which one is
That
it?
was his take home.
Gross or profit?
That
Huh?
was his take home.
He made
That was
$2.8
his
million
take-home.
profit.
Are you
Okay.
his tax guy too? So you
Yeah,
know
so
this?
what's
It's
the
on his
fucking
tax
video?
return.
You've seen his Schedule
Oh my
C.
God.
His 1040.
Why would he say it?
Why is
Why
he
would he
going
say
to
it?
put it out there like that?
Well, let me ask you
why
this
would
one
he
here.
say it?
Let me,
I
hold
have
on.
another
Let me ask you
recording.
this.
I
Why
have
do a lot
another
of guys, hold on,
recording
why
just
do a
from
lot of
Bobby the
guys,
other day.
hold on. You want to ask a question, let a motherfucker answer. God damn.
I didn't
You go
say
through and you
anything.
want to
God
ask a
damn.
question. It's like, geez, dude.
I didn't
You
say
said,
anything.
why would he say that? I'm going to put it this way.
I didn't say anything.
The reason why he said that, it's the same reason why do guys go through and say that they got an 8 to 10 inch long pecker. It's for impression, it's for whatever. That don't mean they got it. It's no different than like Truckin' said over there a minute ago. Thinking they over here measuring eggplants. When it don't make it, and the ones that say they got the big ones, ain't got them. No different than if he's running around saying, I made $2.8 million. Probably didn't. Not unless he's going to
And that's
be
exactly why transparency needs to come out to prove it.
I don't care what he makes. It's none of my business.
Yeah.
It's none of your business.
You're
And
right.
transparency.
You're
and
right.
transparency.
That I don't need transparency.
Yes.
But then
Necessarily-
you should be in fucking
Not
business and
necessarily-
ripping people off.
But what is transparency actually
It's the
gonna
law.
do? I don't
It's a
understand.
law.
Yeah,
No,
but what's
it's a
it actually gonna
regulation.
do?
Actually, it's a regulation.
It's a rule.
Let me
And
ask you a
that
question.
regulation.
Let me ask you-
Hold on. That
The
regulation that you're
backed up
talking
by-
about
Code.
is legally allowed to be
It's backed up. It's backed up. Yes.
371.3C. It says that you have to be, it says that it needs to be made aware, right? It's also in 49 USC 14101 and 49 USC 13103, which is the definitions of all terms in 14101. In 14101, it states that a carrier is allowed to sign away their right to that information. And so when they go
But what
through
is
and the broker says you sign away your right to know what we make off of the load to haul for us, that's legal. That's legal. And so when you sign up to haul for that carrier, and if you didn't read the contract that said
Or redline
that,
it.
What
you know,
What do
or
you
said
stand to
that, hey,
lose? What do you stand to lose?
what's that?
What is
Because I don't want
what is
nobody to know
transparency
what,
gonna
I don't
do?
want them to know what
What
I'm
do you
doing
stand to
either.
lose?
If I open up brokers to transparency, that means I
They're
open
already
myself
doing that.
up.
I already told you that.
I don't want nobody knowing what I'm doing. You ain't none of your goddamn business.
But what is transparency gonna
They know
accomplish?
exactly where
Nothing.
you're at. They know exactly where you're at.
Well, I was wondering what pastime is thinking.
They
that
know
it's
what
gonna
I
accomplish.
they know what I
Put a
make. They know what my
theological
profit
map on
margins
you.
are. They know
Okay,
what my
so
profit
what-
margins are.
No, let
What if-
pastime
Well,
answer
they give it to you.
Cisco.
I'm sure they do.
Let pastime answer Cisco.
What's that?
What is transparency gonna accomplish exactly?
Well, let me ask you a question. If you're
No.
Hold on,
Oh,
don't
God,
answer it with
Mark,
the question.
answer
Mark,
the
just tell me what you.
question.
It's
What's that?
gonna tell you what it is, and it's gonna keep 60,000 fucking brokers from running the goddamn rates to the fucking basement. That's what it's gonna
Yeah,
do.
well,
No carriers do that.
You don't have to get upset. Just I'm
No.
asking you what you're in your opinion. What okay? So, I mean, just like an analogy, or just let's make believe here for a second, if you would. I own a brokerage. So if I tell you,
So
hey,
do I.
hey, pastime, I'm making $400 on this load. What then?
That'd be nice if that's all you were making, but we all know it's not.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're.
But
Oh, okay.
every
I see what's
time
going
that
on.
we
So you're
have
just
found
imagining that they're
anything-
lying to you then.
But I know they are. I've got
How do you know
multiple
that, though?
people that have come straight out and said, just on Bobby's show the other day, the guy said, I've got 2.1 million in sales, and I've made 500,000. Hold
Yeah, that's not hard to do. And as a broker, I mean, if you have the volume, you got to remember they're two separate industries. Pastime. I mean, you're talking one is trucking, one is brokering. Okay, brokers, they don't have a high overhead. I own 6 semis. I know how much it costs to run a truck. Right now my trucking company is not making much money, and that's just the truth. But my brokerage is doing all right. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when the truck is up, the trucking part is up, well, the brokerage goes down because the customers are the ones at the end of the day writing the checks. And to me, I find it hard to believe, or yet, you made a statement that somebody was paying $12,000 on a load, and then the broker was trying to do it at $1.50 a mile or $2.50 a mile. Point me in the direction of that customer, man. I need that guy, because honestly, I mean, I don't know, not one of my customers does not understand logistics themselves, that have not shopped out there like every other human being does in this world. Just like when you go to buy something, hey, I need a new CB radio for my truck. Well, let's see, how much is it at Amazon? How much is it at Target? How much is it at, we all shop. Everybody shops. Customers do the exact same thing. I find it very hard to believe that a customer is going to go, oh yeah, no problem, broker. Here's 12 grand. I know you're going to turn around and sell that for, $2,500, but here you go. Here's $12,000 because I like you. Bullshit. Things don't work that way, brother. I'm sorry, but things do not work that way. And unfortunately, if this is the part where I say my thing with carriers and different things like that, I want to help unveil the relationship between the broker and the customer, and that carriers understand at the end of the day, they are the ones that set the rates. They really do. I mean, I know they don't want to believe that, but they really do set the rates. Because I had a load that I brokered out on Friday. That was a load going from Arizona to McAllen. Customer, I charged them $3,200. I had a truck. I posted it out there. $2,700. Guy came in. He says, I got a truck for you, $3,000. Market's tight. I gave him the $3,000. I made $200. Okay. Not 3 days prior to that, market wasn't as tight. I got that covered for $2,700. I made more money. But at the end of the day, the carriers are the ones who took the load. They're the ones who said, yeah, I'll take it. They took it. So, I mean, the brokers don't own trucks. Everybody said that a million times. Brokers don't have trucks. Customers don't have trucks. Carriers have trucks. So
hold on, Cisco, aren't you the same guy that actually said that you go in, you get loads as a trucking company, what you can't utilize, you put back to your broker and put out on the board? Wasn't that you? Because I am the guy who. Illegal.
Yeah. So I'm a trucking company first. That's basically what I do. So I'm a trucking company first.
Right. If you got the load as a trucking company, you can't put it back out to another trucking company. A trucking company can't give it to a broker and to a trucking company. That's illegal. So what you are doing is actually illegal.
I have a carrier MC and I have a broker MC. I have two separate MCs.
Unless you got it as a broker, then you can't do that. And if you got it as a broker and you're giving it to your trucking company, you can't claim it on the brokerage.
I don't broker freight to my own trucking company. I do not broker freight to my own trucking company. I can't do that because I'll tell you. You want me to tell you why I can't do that? I'm going to tell you exactly why I can't do that. Because my contingent cargo policy that I have states that exactly right there. It is a conflict of interest. If I broker freight to my own trucks, that is a conflict of interest, and I cannot do that.
If you get it as a carrier, you can't rebroker it.
I have a customer that goes, hey, I got this load. They don't care. The customer doesn't give a shit if I put it on one of my trucks or I put it on a foreign truck. They don't care. They see two different companies with two MCs.
It's only illegal if they don't know.
It's only illegal if you don't get caught.
No. See, it's only illegal if they don't know. It's called co-brokering what Cisco's doing.
Yes.
No,
double brokering is illegal.
No, co-brokering is actually when you go and you get a load and you find another broker that has a carrier and you split your commission.
So let me ask you a question. I mean, I don't know your story. I don't know if you have trucks or not. So let me ask you a question. If you go take a load for Stevens Transport, they're doing something illegal?
If they're getting it
because
from a carrier,
they have a
yeah.
brokerage division. They have a brokerage division and they have a carrier division. They're two separate MCs.
If they go to the customer and they get it as a carrier, and you give it to a fucking broker, you are breaking the law. Period.
Okay, so I went to the customer as a broker. Who gives a shit? I don't understand what the difference is. What is the difference?
Because you keep on saying you go in as a carrier and you get loads. You can't give it back to your broker. You cannot give it back to your broker. A carrier cannot give a broker a load.
A carrier.
That's the
transaction. So this is the way it happens. This is what happens. Okay, maybe this will clear it up. So I go in and I go, hey, give me that load. Okay, here you go. I internally make that decision. Do we have a load for this truck? No. Okay, put it through the brokerage. The customer gets a bill from my brokerage. They're invoiced by my brokerage company. Do you see what I'm saying? They know it's me. Like it's still me at the end of the day. They know I have a trucking company and a brokerage company. When they get a bill from my trucking company, they pay my trucking company. When they get a bill from the factoring company, from my brokerage company, then I bill them through my. They're two completely separate businesses. They're not joined in any way. The only commonality there is the owner. I own both.
I know, it's called tax fraud. You're actually splitting what the companies make so that you don't have to claim the actual money that you are making.
What? If it was tax fraud, then almost everybody would be in jail.
That's being changed. That's actually being changed. Just
How is that tax fraud when the company has its own employee identity or their own EIN number? One company has its own numbers and the other one has its own numbers. I don't get it.
It's not
because
tax
you
fraud.
have $1 million and you're splitting it into 500,000. Oh, it is. We pointed that out.
You're not.
We pointed that out. We pointed that out. It's coming your way. Okay, your number will have all of the all of your businesses will be on that number. So you won't be claiming just
it's going to be two different tax returns there, bud.
Yeah, I got two different tax returns. What do you mean?
I file 3 tax returns every year. I file a tax return for my personal. I file a tax return for my trucking company, and I file a tax return for my construction company.
Yeah,
you mean to tell me I'm going to have to file one tax?
No. Does your construction company have anything to do with trucking?
It's the same owner. It's the same
owner. It's the same owner.
Can I ask
I move money around all the time. Where I take owner contributions
the money.
from one.
It's the same money coming from the same person.
Can I ask Pastor a policy question?
So that you can be in a smaller
go ahead, Audrey.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
We're all waiting.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm trying. Pastime, so you keep saying it's coming your way. So I'm assuming then that you have something that's been introduced into either administrative rules?
Nope.
So
it was at the damn truck show. They announced it.
Okay,
it's coming your way.
Okay. So let me do a little bit of clarification. And Cisco, I'm glad you're on here because I'm about to do. I want to share a couple things. Number one, just because somebody says it at a truck show doesn't make it fact. It would be no different than me going to the beauty salon and Betty tells me that the world is coming to an end. That's not policy. That's why I asked what I did.
Said it at
let her finish. Pastime. Let her finish.
This is where he just talks over everybody. So
that's why I asked you. That's why I tried to have respect for you and say, where did this come from? Do you have a legislative bill? Do you have a congressman? Do you have somebody who's carrying this? So basically what you're saying is this is a rumor from an organization at a truck show. That answers my question. The second thing I want to address is this. You want to know why people are saying things on these lives? Because it draws interest. It gets people fighting, and what truckers aren't understanding. And part of this actually came from something, Cisco, you said in a different live that I was on, and I'm so glad you're on there, because you made the comment about what can we do for our businesses now? And that actually got me personally thinking about changing kind of how I'm approaching this entire issue, and I appreciate that, Cisco, for that. But here's the thing. Stop believing what people are telling you. Trust but verify. I could go to a truck show and say, I'm going to be the next president of FMCSA. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. The fact of the matter is that a lot of you guys are being played by your own people and drawn into this conflict when there's not a conflict. Manage your own businesses. Do what you do in trucking. This believing that, oh, this person's making this and brokers are making this and this, and people have reached out to me privately, and I have zero problem sharing this, is that they're tired of the infighting. You're literally funding each side of the war.
Yeah.
When you are building the conflict within your own industry, that's the problem. It's not about getting accurate information out there anymore. It's about building the war. So, well, so-and-so said this. Trust but verify. Say, okay, like I just did to you pastime, and I said it calmly, and I just asked the question, where did you get that? Have you seen a policy rule? Where is this coming from? And you just said, nope, it was said at a truck show. So that tells me that, again, we're believing beauty shop, locker room, whatever you want to call it, talk, and it's not factually based. If you're going to come on and share public information, make sure it's accurate, or trust but verify, or say, hey, I'm working on XYZ, because you guys are getting played by your own people or people who are out to profit from your own problems. And that's really sad as an outsider looking in to see that happen. And so that's my 10 cents on it.
Well, that's exactly what happened with the FreightWaves thing here with CRST, was that they literally went through, and instead of being right, they wanted to be first, and they published that CRST was going out of business, and then turned around and had to completely redact that, because all they did was move jobs from the expedited division over to another division, so that, which is a more profitable side, which as a business owner, if I had multiple divisions of my trucking company, like we'll say tanker and flatbed and reefer, if my tanker freight's going away, but my reefer freight is increasing, and I am a responsible business owner and I want to keep my drivers and I want to make sure they're making money because I care about my drivers, yeah, I'm probably going to move 100 jobs from the tanker division over to the reefer division. Especially if they're under different EIN numbers.
Clearly,
can I address the 10-minute view that Audrey just put out there?
I have a story that my husband and I need to tell you guys. Because it's on the subject of trucking. You say you care about drivers and whatnot. Is that okay?
Come on with it.
Go ahead.
All right. My husband worked for a company out of Orlando, Florida. The guy is now he's being sued because of fraud. My husband never got his wages, and because of what this guy did, we lost our home, our vehicle, everything. We are having to start from the ground up again. My husband has been out of work since March of 2025. I just recently started working because now I have to help build him up, because I have to help him get his license reinstated because of what this guy did. And it's probably going to take almost this whole month before he can go back to work after the first of the year. But the guy also refused to give my husband the tax information, and we can't file taxes because of what this guy has done. And I don't want my husband getting in trouble. And this guy has to be held accountable for what he's doing. The former CEO of the company is suing the guy that took over, and my husband got screwed out of a whole lot of money and a whole lot of jobs. And now because of that, he has been out of work since that time. And my husband worked his ass off. The guy that he worked for abandoned him in Kentucky for 8 days, no food, no water, didn't check on him. They had to get a veteran organization to get him a rental car to get back home to Florida. And my husband loves this industry. My husband is an awesome driver. He loves this industry. He cares about it. He's a second generation because of what his dad used to be a driver. And now because of that, my husband has lost so much.
You know,
and I am
Cupcake,
so mad
and
because of what happened to him, and because now we have to start all over.
And Kurt, I apologize, and I'm not trying to intervene here, but I just want to say one thing about this, about what you're saying about this carrier out there. And these are the people that we're supposed to be saving. Hey, Vince, you're in here. I'm glad you're here listening to this. These are the companies that we're supposed to be saving. These are the people that shouldn't be going out of business. The guys that we should be letting them just fail and get out, and let the guys who are really working and successful and really trying to, do this in the right way. And these are the people that these guys are like the AF, whatever AFART, whatever, Bobby says, they are. And
after all, baby, we're going to make a change.
And I say that those are the guys that we're trying to save. I mean, these are the companies that we're, there's just sometimes the market will we'll dictate who's going to be there and who's not. We all struggle. I agree. I feel the pain of a lot of these drivers out there. I own trucks. I know. I get it. I know what it's like. It's expensive, and sometimes you feel like the world's against you. But yesterday I was on a live, and this guy was telling me, no, this, I go, get some customers. Go out there, and he tells me, what do you mean go out and get customers? Do you know how hard that is? I go, exactly. It's hard. That's what separates the men from the boys. Excuse me, any ladies in here, but this is what separates us. This is what makes you the next step. It is hard because if everybody could do it, then everybody would be the CRSTs and the Swifts and the Knights, and it wouldn't mean jack shit to anybody. There's no value if everybody can go out and do it. But go out there, put your ass on the line, put your butt out there. You know what I'm saying?
But my husband can't drive right now because of his license.
And I'm sorry, man, for what has happened to you. I'm sorry that you got caught up in a company like that. And there are people out there like that.
But see, this is the thing. Yeah. What he's trying to say, Hun, is that one of the reasons why we're trying to get rid of this broker transparency or whatever, or this equal playing field that a lot of people want, is that they go through and they allow...
No, it wouldn't.
It allows for the more unscrupulous type people that you're talking about that your husband dealt with. It helps get rid of them. The ones that are running like that, we'll just say illegally as such, and I'm only going to use that tonight, but for lack of better terms, but they're the ones that are out there. Like I was talking about with our gentleman earlier about how they're paying their drivers $200 or $300 a week. When you go through and you make an even playing field, that allows for the people that have no business in this industry to come in. If you go through and you make it to where it's $5 a mile minimum, anybody can operate at $5 a mile minimum. I could put a monkey in a truck, and that monkey can operate that truck as a carrier at $5 a mile for minimum.
But Cupcake, also explain to these people, but explain to them as well, where would those same companies at $5 a mile be in the next 5 years?
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. Well, so hold on. If we're going to continue, if we continue on, now we're going to get into what it's going to happen with inflation. And the inflation from the $5 a mile is going to inflate everything else. Because the shippers and the manufacturers, they're going to pay the $5 a mile, but they're just going to offset that cost onto the consumer, which in turn goes through and does that. So when you do that, or when you do
that's tyrannical. The whole damn thing's tyrannical.
I'm talking.
You can't force people to drop the insurance rates. You can't force other industries to do what you want.
What I'm saying.
The whole damn thing.
That's literally what I'm saying. But you're trying to. Well, hold on.
Nothing to do
you're
with
trying to. Hold on. You want broker transparency, which is then forcing the brokers to show how much they make.
What part of I don't give a shit about that do you not understand? You don't get it, right? You don't get it. I don't care about that fucking broker transparency. What it would do is tell people what is going on in the industry. It ain't going to help you to negotiate the fucking rate. It ain't going to help you with any of that shit.
Yeah, well...
What I'm doing has nothing to do with any of that shit.
So you just want to know?
Nothing.
What, you just want to know?
I already fucking know. I want to wake the people up.
So pastime,
Stop hauling fucking cheap fucking freight.
I don't.
What's cheap freight?
What's cheap freight?
Yeah, what's cheap freight to you? That's what I'm
What's your operating
Anything
cost?
under the price of fuel right now.
Well, so this is the thing. If you're operating,
we're all
hold on a minute.
Talking, he's just way back there.
If your operating cost is zero, then there's no such thing as cheap freight.
Oh man, you
can't get less than zero.
Yeah. Why are you pretending to be an association that actually isn't fighting for the trucking industry? Why are you pretending to be FOPT?
We are actually.
No, you're not.
I've actually submitted 3 rulemaking procedures into FMCSA.
And how would he know? When has he ever participated? Shit, nope, I haven't participated. You don't even know what you're talking about. How about you join the cause and see what it's about and either stay or leave, one or the other. But don't be sitting over there yapping your lips like you know what all these things are about.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. I'm sure you'll succeed.
Where's your
after the
thing
sixth time.
is
Keep
this.
Going.
Okay, well, hold on.
Yeah, I know.
Answer
you were
this
the
one
that
question.
Wrote AFTRA, bro. You were the one that wrote most of AFTRA.
Yeah, and that's-
if
You
you go
were the
through,
one that wrote most of Afra.
Pastime.
I am.
I have a question for Pastime.
The whole
Pastime.
thing's fucking stupid.
Pastime. You own your trucks, right? You own
Yes,
your
I do.
trucks.
Yes,
Okay,
I
and
do.
you was able to park them for 2 years. What is cheap freight, and what is your operating
that's
cost?
all. Yeah. The part of
Because
After
you're-
that I didn't write though also is the 513 bullshit. If you look at the bottom where we talk about training and safety and
No,
all
okay.
that, that's the part
So
that I wrote.
He's got to have an operating
So you
expense
wrote
because
the
he's now
insurance to
admitting
cap
that he's got
insurance.
parked trucks with no insurance.
So you wrote the part where you're going to cap. the
Actually, so
freaking
if you want to know how it
insurance.
worked, is this. If you want to know how it worked, is this. I pulled out of my outline document that I have. I pulled out about 9 different points. And then after that, Dave turned around and threw it through ChatGPT. So that's what happened. The parts in there that I had put into it would have been the part of the education, changing of hours of service, things of that nature. That's what I added. The 513 bullshit and all of that, which is the majority of the after bullshit, was all written by a ChatGPT. Okay? I was there when it all happened. As far as the other, though, what I need to know from you is you want to talk about cheap freight. I need you to define what cheap freight is without asking a question. Define what cheap freight is, please.
Define what cheap freight is grabbing a load for fuel. You're not okay. People that say, "Hey, I'm gonna cut my costs because I paid my trailer off." You don't know what business is, right? You pay your trailer off so that you can make a profit off of what you're already making. You don't drop the rate because, I paid my trailer off. I've done this.
And who's telling
my truck
you they're
and
doing
trailer
that?
are paid off.
Yeah, I don't know who.
I don't have a payment. I don't have this. I have cheap insurance. I can run for cheaper than you.
That's probably
Like-
true.
So
My
you're the
insurance
problem
is
with the
probably
industry?
cheaper than a lot of your guys's. But
Yeah,
do you know that?
okay.
I can say it, but you don't fucking know it.
Okay, but
probably
I don't
cheaper
care
than-
what you're saying. I care what you're doing. I care
Okay,
that you're
what am I
running
doing?
that cheap freight because you're
I
trying
am?
to get fuel money to go from point A to point B. I'm tired
What's
of hearing
cheap
that.
freight? That's
Well,
what we're all
pay
trying to
for my
understand.
Yeah,
fuel.
what exactly is cheap freight, though?
You keep
You're-
touting that,
Hey,
but you
hey,
can't
hey,
answer
you're
the
operating
question.
costs.
The number per mile. What's the number per
Anything
mile?
that's
I mean,
Go to the
I
fuel
average
pump.
I average about $7 a mile. Is that cheap freight? What is cheap freight?
and you're not in the industry of dry box reefer or
Oh,
flatbed.
see, bingo! There you go, buddy. There's
I'm in auto
there's
haul.
another parallel right there.
And I'm
Yeah.
not doing anything with those other industries.
Then go
You
do
don't
something.
understand what I'm doing.
It's
You
all
have
the
no
same
fucking
thing.
Clue. You have no clue what I'm doing.
No, and I don't
That's
want to know.
obvious.
I'm not going to waste
$7
my
a mile,
time
That
on
is
you
that.
don't know
totally
what her
obvious that you
overhead
don't
is
have a
either.
damn clue what we're doing.
Well,
Who's weird?
the thing of it is you don't even have a website where anybody can go read what you're doing.
Really? I sure do.
I literally, when it come across this freight slaughter you talked about, I can't find anything about freight slaughter. When I go to Pastime for a change, there's nothing there.
Well, I
There's
guess
no
you're not smart enough to
articles,
sign
there's
up
no
an account,
about,
but here,
there's
let me
no
ask you this
videos.
question. How did you get on this app? How did you get on this app? You made an account, right? Did you make an account?
Yes.
Okay, so why did you make an account? It says right there, this is what we're doing, and join free today. So stop
Yes,
telling me it's not there.
You don't have to join nothing to read what we're doing at FOPT. You just go to FOPT and read it. You don't have to put no
Okay,
information.
well, I'm protecting my users. You're not.
How
know
am I
what
not
security
protecting
is.
them? How am I not protecting them? From reading an article? How is that
Are you-
dangerous?
Well, I'm not just reading a fucking article. That's what you don't understand.
No.
I have a whole news crew, but I'm not.
I think
I'm not
that
gonna just
what
be
everybody's
reading
trying to
fucking
say though,
articles.
their pastime is that everybody's business is different. You know, my cost per mile may not be the same as yours. You know, your cost per mile may be, $1.80, and you can run freight for $2.20 a mile and make money. My cost per mile it hovers around $2.20 to $2.25. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at, depending on the price of fuel. It goes up and.
Even
that?
if we were all dry box carriers, there was nothing else. Even if we were all dry box carriers, The operating expense is going to be different. You want to buy a Tupperware torpedo, and I like my W900 long nose. Our operating expenses are never going to be the same. I buy fuel from the mom and pops, and you love to go to Flying J and Loves. Our operating expenses are never going to be the same. I have a deal with a tire dealer who gives me a better price than you. Our operating expenses are never going to be the same. I pay my drivers more than you pay yours. We're not going to be the same. That is the bottom line. No matter how you math it, it will never be the same.
So exactly what you just said tells me you don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing. None.
Yeah, but why do I have to join your website to be able to learn what you're trying to do? Why can't I just go in and read it?
There what we're doing.
What I have learned from the conversation last time is I don't need to waste my time knowing what you're doing because you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground anyway. Really? Come run my business and let me see how well you do.
Okay, so hold on.
Well, the guy, I mean, I give the guy credit, I guess. You know, he seems to have an idea about. Look, you know what, Pastime? I think everybody on this panel here can see problems with our industry. We all see problems. You know, there's guys who are, you know, for transparency of the brokers. You know, they're seeing that some brokers are bad actors and they're, you know, and they take advantage of certain situations. I think there are carriers that are shitty out there. I've dealt with plenty of them. There's fraud in the industry. There's a lot of different things, and I think everybody's kind of trying to, you know, we're trying to help the situation a little bit.
I don't give a fuck about transparency.
Well, then why does your website on the screen here say fairness and transparency?
Because we're fair and transparent. You will write on the bill of lading how much I fucking paid you, so my shipper and my fucking receiver will know, and it will be 100% transparent. What I am fucking doing has nothing to do with every fucking buddy else.
You don't care about transparency, but you care about transparency.
I'm giving transparency. I'm changing the fucking system. I'm showing the fucking shippers that they have the right to that information.
Y'all
actually, they don't.
I gotta go make money.
Yeah, they do. They 100%.
No, actually, if you sign off and say that you don't have that right, then you signed your right away to that information. That's right there in the contract.
Why are you pretending to be a trucking organization when you are fighting against everything that is for the trucking industry?
How is that against trucking to actually know how to run a business?
Did you know that the only industry
how is that against trucking
still follows all the regulations and was not taken out was literally the bed buggers?
Like, how is it against the trucking industry to say that people need to know how to operate and run a business to be a carrier?
Host, can I ask a question about a comment you just made?
Sure.
You just made a comment that if we sign on the dotted line, XYZ, etc., or you seem to allude that if we sign a contract agreeing to a waiver. Do you know that there are regulations that provide very specific waivers between certain relationships in transportation, and there are no
actually it's 49 USC 14101 talks about the carrier and the broker contracts, and if you look at the 49 USC 13102 and the definitions of said such allows for that waiver to be put in place.
Right, absolutely. Now my question,
so unless you plan on changing the code to where that they're going to have to rewrite the definitions,
my question is this: if brokers have not been provided the authority in law to put those waivers in place, how do they keep getting away with doing it, and why should it be allowed?
Well, as of the U.S. Code, 49 U.S. Code 14101, that allows them to put that waiver in place.
It does not. It says
it actually does.
Shippers and carriers. Read it right
okay,
now.
so hold on. Let's go to definitions. Yes, I will. Carriers. Right here. I will pull it up right now then. Because USC, actually, I think I've got it on my tablet. If you go to USC 13102 and look at the definitions on what a carrier...
Read 101.
Actually, the definitions are 13102.
Read 101.
So, that's not the definitions.
The waiver is 101.
The waiver is 14101, not 13102. I know.
Read
it's right here.
I'm asking you to read
A
it.
carrier providing transportation or service subject to jurisdiction under Chapter 135 may enter into a contract with a shipper other than for the movement of household goods described in Section 13102.10a to provide specific services under the specified rates and conditions. If
Right.
the shipper and carrier in writing expressly waive any and all rights and remedies under this part for the transportation covered by the contract, the transportation provided under the contract shall not be subject to the waived rights and remedies and may not be subsequently challenged on the ground that it violates in waived rights and remedies. The parties may not waive the provisions governing registration, insurance, and safety fitness. Now, if we go back here to what defines a carrier, we have to go to 13102.
Before you go there, is a broker considered a carrier?
Right here.
Nope.
So hold on, right here. Definition, 49 U.S. Code 13102 definitions. Number 3, carrier. The term carrier means a motor carrier, a water carrier, and a freight forwarder. Now, to go through and define a freight forwarder. The term freight forwarder means a person holding itself out to the general public other than as a pipeline, rail, motor, or water carrier to provide transportation of property for compensation. I'm giving you the definition of what it is. No, I'm giving you the definition of what a freight. No.
Shippers
and carriers.
Please.
And carriers.
Right.
And I'm defining the carrier. So you have to look at the definitions of what a carrier is.
Hang on. This is where we're getting off point. Who does 14101 allow waivers between?
Shippers and carriers.
Okay, that said.
And what is it? I'm trying to tell you what they define a carrier as.
And you're saying a freight forwarder is considered a carrier in the rules.
Yes, that's the thing.
Well, as far as I know, I haven't signed any agreements with any freight forwarders. We're always signing them with freight brokers based on the authority type that they have, which is what we're talking about.
If you go into 13102, go into 13102. I'm trying to give you the definition. You keep cutting me off. If you want to know what a carrier is, I'm giving you the definition.
I've been a carrier for 20 years. I know what a carrier is.
You have to look at what the code states. How a code defines a carrier. Once again, how a carrier is defined. The term carrier means motor carrier, a water carrier, and a freight forwarder. Now we can go down and we can define what a motor carrier is, or we can just get into the freight forwarder side of it. And a freight forwarder
We don't
means
need freight forwarding because we're talking about carriers and shippers as 14101, which was my initial statement.
yes, but the carrier is defined. No, look,
But
dude.
he's trying to define
the term
the carrier in the
carriers.
statement.
The term carrier means this: a motor carrier, a water carrier, or a freight forwarder.
Now
It
tell
means
him what
all
a freight
three.
forwarder's
Trailer
definition
and
is.
an authority issued by the FMCSA under the type of carrier.
You have to look
That's
at what
a carrier is.
Have you ever read an
don't.
act or a bill?
No, I've never read anything.
And at the
in my
beginning,
life.
that
I
it
use
gives the
ChatGPT
definitions.
for everything. I've never read anything.
Well, then-
this is how I know.
Well, then you
okay?
know how they define things.
A carrier. Here's the deal. The FMCSA has my type of business classified as a carrier. I have
Right
a
here it
broker
is.
authority, and I let it go a long time ago. I am a carrier as far as 14101 applies. It actually explicitly said, and you read it yourself, except for bed buggers, okay, etc. They knew what they put into place. There's no reason to read that deeply into it unless
Actually, you have to. You have to
You
in a
do
court
not.
of law. Actually, you do. In a court of
We're
law,
not in a
they
court
want to
of
know
law.
what these
We're
things.
not in a-
You are. If you're
Here's
going to
the
go
deal,
after
guys.
this,
Here's the deal. Anyone making
it's a
excuses
freight
for
forwarder.
brokers anyone putting in permission and putting in excuses for freight brokers applying waivers to their contracts in a carrier relationship and allowing
if you
them
don't want to
use
do it, then
14101,
don't haul for them.
then let,
If
let
you
it-
don't want to
okay,
sign the
you're-
contract, don't haul
Can I
for them.
finish? Can I finish? You say I keep cutting you off. I think it's going both
Well,
ways.
I'm just returning the favor, bro, because you won't let me define what a freight forwarder is. So, you
Okay,
you
well,
won't let me
I'll
finish
you-
what a definition on a carrier is.
Uninterrupted. It's your show. Go ahead and define it.
So, back to where we were at here. Open the tablet back up. A carrier. We're going to start again. The term carrier means motor carrier, water carrier, and a freight forwarder. A freight forwarder, the term freight forwarder means a person holding itself out to the general public other than as a pipeline, rail, motor, or water carrier to provide transportation of property for compensation and in the ordinary course of its business. A, assembles and consolidates or provides for assembling and consolidating shipments and performs or provides for break, bulk, and distribution operations. B, assumes responsibility for the transportation from the place of receipt to the place of destination.
Sounds
C,
like a broker to me.
uses for any part of the transportation a carrier subject to jurisdiction under this subtitle. So a broker uses for transportation a carrier subject to under this subtitle. That's how a broker moves freight.
Okay. A freight
And that
forwarder.
is why a freight forwarder is considered a carrier, which is what allows for that contract to waive the right to the ability to see the rates.
Now can I speak?
Yeah.
Okay. A freight forwarder and a broker are different. Freight forwarders take control of freight. Brokers are not allowed to. When they cross over that threshold, they're playing a dangerous game outside of the authority that has been granted to them. That's number one. Number two, if a freight broker wants to conduct itself as a freight forwarder and get any waivers that you say they have the authority to, then they should get a freight forwarder authority, which a lot of people do have, but we are not talking about those people. That's why I say you're not staying on topic. You're bending this conversation to fit.
Hold on. Let me point something out real quick, though. A freight forwarder actually takes responsibility and ownership of the load. A broker never does. They have no responsibility nor ownership to the load. The bill of lading.
As somebody who has, when I had a truck that.
This is important. This is important. 3 days ago, I dealt with a Landstar broker who, after we were in and he told me flat out, you will take that truck over there, you will deliver that load right now. And I said, you're playing a very dangerous game there, buddy, one you don't even understand. I won the argument, but my point is this. Let's go backwards, because you did go down a rabbit hole that truly is irrelevant to the point that I made when I first started speaking. We're talking about brokers. Brokers are not all freight forwarders. If they want to be freight forwarders, let them go get a freight forwarder authority, which the FMCSA does grant. So 14101, as I said, does not apply to freight brokers. It's just that simple. So they do not
They're not
have
motor carriers.
any legal right. They do not, no, they're not motor carriers. They do not have any legal right to put waivers in their contracts. And when you say, well, we don't have to sign them, we don't have to haul them, I'm going to tell you right now, if every single person out here agreed with you, and I agree with you, you don't have to sign them. But that does not mean that they have the right to put them in there. They are violating the oath that they took to abide by all applicable rules as soon as they start putting those waivers in their contracts.
That's why we've actually got a petition up, and we've got a bill up, and we're actually working with the DOT and FMCSA to remove TQL's brokerage license, because they were ordered to take it out, and they did not.
I just don't.
So
I'm going to go back.
federal.
I'm going to go back in here with my family and watch TV, because it frustrates the shit out of me trying to talk to people that seem to want to be carriers or claim to be carriers, but seem to be siding with brokers and excusing the shit that brokers do. So you guys have a great Sunday. Thank you very much for listening.
Later, Leander.
Yeah,
Hey,
you have a
host,
good one, Leander.
Host, can I say something?
Come on, Vince.
I just wanted to jump in here and say hello. It's actually my day off too, but I've seen a lot of your videos. And what is your name, by the way?
Mike.
Mike. Okay, Mike. Well, nice to meet you. I just wanted to say hi, and we'll get into it. If you're going to be on tomorrow, we can get into it some more, or I'll get into it with you.
Well, we'll see what happens. I drive a truck, so you know how that goes.
I do. Well, yep, it was nice meeting you. And yeah, what is everybody talking about right now?
So my
Everybody's all
question
over
is
the
also this: if, and I'm asking for understanding here, if Leander was right in saying that brokers could not put that waiver in their contracts, then why was there a comment period and all this stuff go down? And we all know the acronym OOIDA. Why were they challenging that? If that was the case, where am I not understanding?
I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it either because I've done so much research on it and talked to attorneys. And I mean, I've talked to Audrey about it, who's in politics. Everything that I'm being told is it's on the money. So it is legal for them to put that in the contract.
I can touch that if you want me to answer that. I can
Please
give a little
do,
bit of
because
you need help.
You are better than I am.
So the argument, I think, is that the argument is based on you can't waive your rights to something that you're legally granted. And where I think this whole fundamental discussion comes in is that everyone is saying that FMCSA's administrative rules are law, and they are not. They are an administrative rule. Administrative rules have a different set of implication, meaning that if you don't like what the administrative rule is, then you have to go through the legal process of exactly what OOIDA did with the comment period and all that. That is the process to change administrative rules. It's not done through a legal process. It's done through the comment period and things like that. So that is a whole legal interpretation thing. And so after it goes through the comment period, then that administrative agency says, hey, we have a legal question. That legal question is then posed to, in regards to FMCSA, is then posed to what would be the Department of Justice. Department of Justice, who has billion-dollar lawyers, say, according to this or this or this, that's why it's happening. That's a legal argument that will have to be decided at that level. But if it's an administrative rule, that's a different thing. Did that answer your question?
Well, they're saying
when
that it's
put into the
illegal.
Carrier Act.
They're saying that the carrier that a broker requiring a carrier to waive their right to see the original documents is illegal. That's what they're saying.
Right. So that's based on the premise that you can't waive a right that you have. But here's the problem is that do you actually have that right? And that's the illegal interpretation. Is my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer, is that is an administrative rule clause, and we waive, and trucking is not. And so let me go back. In your example about construction also has administrative agencies who oversee them. So there's HUD, there's building codes, there's all those things, right? So all industries have, for the most part, they have some sort of administrative agency oversight as to how they're allowed to operate, how they're allowed to do that. So in this case, they're saying they don't have the right to waive their legal right to not see it. Well, here's the thing. Is it a legal right or is it a business transactional right? And I think that is where the legal definition is really going to be important. That's going to be decided by the Supreme Court, or that's going to be decided by DOJ if they're asked to give a legal opinion.
But Audrey, I don't understand something here, and I guess this is what I think is kind of, and I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just don't understand how this helps us. I mean, even if you knew what the broker was getting paid, if they were making $10,000 more than you were, they're not obligated in any way to give that money to you anyway. I mean, what does it matter?
Cisco, you're absolutely right. Cisco, you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter. The problem is that this has become a talking point for people within the industry to bring decisiveness and distract you from building your own business and taking care of what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it is.
If I'm fair to a carrier that I give a load to and I give him a fair price that he thinks is going to benefit his business, then I'm assuming that he's taking that load because of that fact. I mean, if he's going to take my load and then turn around and go, oh, you put me out of business. Well, sir, I'm sorry, man, but that's not my problem. I'm not the one who took the load.
Not your load. It is 100% not your load.
Let me give a suggest. Let me give you a little story here. Hi, my name's Trouble. Been in the business 30 years. If you don't know me, you're not on the trucking side. 'Cause I'm an asshole. So, I've hauled everything there is to haul in this industry. We had a guy that we knew, and he was hauling cattle, and everybody was bumping the chute. Of course, the guy he was hauling cattle for has other people that haul cattle. And everybody got to talking one day, and he found out that he was making $4.45 a mile hauling cattle. Deplorable at this day and age. And he found out everybody else was getting $5.25 a mile. Well, he called up, said, stock contractor, and he said, hey, what's the deal? I do a good job just like those guys do, and why am I getting $4.45 a mile and these guys are getting $5.25 a mile? When it comes down to it, because that guy called that stock contractor and asked for work, and that stock contractor said, okay, well, what's your rate? And he said, and I quote, $4.45 a mile. So he paid him $4.45 a mile.
Right.
You named your own rate.
Right.
Don't be mad at him because he pocketed the rest of it. That's what this whole transparency thing. Everybody's like, oh, we need transparency. No, you don't need transparency. You need to know what your lanes pay. You need to know what the other guy next to you's making, and everybody else traveling that same corridor, and what it's paying. It doesn't come down to who gives a shit what they're pocketing in their in their pocket. Because if you name your own rate and you
Amen.
say,
I agree with that 1,000%.
if you tell that broker, look, I can't take that load, man. My going rate's $5.25 a mile. I'm sorry, I just can't take that risk. And go find another load. It's that easy.
Move on.
It's
So
real
my
simple.
question I have right now, I got another question for Audrey, and this one just kind of popped up. So, Audrey, you were talking about how this is a business. There was a difference between a business transaction and what was the other term you used?
We were talking about, like, is it a business transaction or is it you're actually waiving a legal right? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes.
So, wouldn't this, though, because from what my attorneys told me, this falls under a business transaction because it's two businesses going and making a contract. Mm-hmm. There's no individuals involved because my trucking company has signed a contract or a rate con with a brokerage company. It's not two people making a contract. It's two business entities making a contract. So from what my attorney's telling me on that, what's on the political side with that?
Well, again, I'm not an attorney, but I think your attorney's absolutely spot on to what it is that this is a contract between two people. If you don't like the terms of the contract, you don't sign the terms of the contract, right? Like, you negotiate the terms of the contract.
You're not being forced to do it.
Right, exactly. You're not signing it under what they call in the legal word duress. Exactly. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Exactly. So I think the argument is, and I think the rhetoric in this is that you're signing away a legal right. Well, when you think of in terms of a legal right, you think of things like life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, the right to be detained, Miranda rights or things like that. That is legal rights versus contractual rights. So what your attorney's telling you is that this is a business contract between two people. If you don't like the terms of the contract, you negotiate a different set of contracts. Correct. It is so when you use the rhetoric of they don't have the right to sign away the legal right, it gets really confusing because we got to make sure that we differentiate between a business relationship and an actual legal right. Those are very different, very starkly different things. So, what your attorney's saying is absolutely right. It is a business contract. You don't like the terms of the contract, you don't sign it, right? You're like, nope, I'm going to go do...
Well, you either sign it or you redline it. You can redline contracts.
Exactly. So absolutely. Yeah, you redline it. You don't sign it. You change the terms. Right. You have what they call negotiating power.
And this is exactly what Landstar did to me. And this is why I don't work with Landstar. When I sent them my carrier, they sent it back to me with a bunch of changes that I needed to make in order for me to do work with them. I said, no, I'm not going to change it. They said, okay, fine. We're not going to do business. Done deal. We're not going to do it. So I
Right.
mean,
And that's
it
where
was
you
funny.
made
was a
the
lot
you
of it
made the
was them
decision as the
rebrokering my
one running the
freight
business.
was what they wanted to change, which was kind of funny, but.
Well, and
Yeah,
and I wanted to piggyback off really quick, and then I'm sorry, I'll step out, but I wanted to piggyback off what the other gentleman said about the rates and negotiation, and he found out he makes this and that and the other. You know, drivers are the same damn way. They come to a carrier and like, oh, you're making $3 a mile, then I should be making $1.50. No, that's not how that works.
Right.
Work that way.
So anyway, I've had enough of this conversation. You're not advocating for the trucking industry, and as such,
That's right.
I mean, and let me
I think
interrupt because I really
I'm
came
done.
up because of
Great
you.
one.
Because you have no idea what you're talking about, Pastor. I don't know how long you've been trucking, but I mean, my fucking left foot's got more time on the fucking road than you do got in a truck. Let's just.
The funny part about it is that he literally just dropped himself. It's whatever. So
Yeah, he is a complete idiot. The cheap freight is different from everybody. Everybody has their own cheap freight. Like
Right.
in
Right.
my industry, I am the most hated industry out here. Everybody hates me. Every single one of y'all hate me. Why? Because I'm a fucking cow hauler. And
I used to haul livestock, bro. I don't hate you. I'm just too old to fuck with that shit anymore. Okay.
I'm 52 years old, and our rates are our rates, and we have it in our. We have guys that cut our rates, what we call rate
Right.
cutting and things like that. It's not rate cutting if that's what they need to operate. So what? They need $4.30 a fucking mile to operate. That's their business. Okay, I need $5.50. My rate's $5.50 a mile right now. That's what my fucking rate is.
But then you have guys that go, oh, well, look at all the money that they're paying, and then look at the trucks that they're driving in. I mean, do you know how much one of those trailers cost? I mean, it's like
Yeah,
it's a
think of it
big
this way,
dollar
Four
business,
brand new
man.
ones this year. Four brand new
That
ones
is a
this
big
year.
dollar business,
What-
whether you want to
what
look
they
at it or
don't
not.
understand though, what most people don't understand with livestock is this: we
don't
go
go
out
20
loaded and
miles
we
down
come
the
back
road.
home. Well,
Yeah,
but we go
you
out
don't-
loaded and we come back empty. So when we're saying we're making, like, I know when I was doing it, and I was making between $6 and $6.50 a mile, but I was going all the way out loaded and coming back 600, 1,000 miles, whatever, empty. So in all actuality, I was only making like $3.15 a mile.
Exactly.
You know, but I'm going to
There's
tell
no
you this
20
also.
minutes down the road
I was
going
running
to get reloaded.
No,
Yeah,
and the other thing of it is this, and you know this as well as I do. You go grab pigs instead of, if you're hauling nothing but cows, and then you go grab pigs or you grab sheep or something else like that, if you're going to try to double dip because maybe it might be able to work out that way, that's a whole other problem that happens now with the trailer. So, and then the other thing of it is this. When you're running a 379 or a 389 that's cooking 600, 650 horse, they burn through like 4 gallons of freaking a mile, okay? So fuel is hugely expensive, but you got to do that to get there. You got 18 hours to get these things off the freaking wagon once you put them on it. You know?
By law. That's by
and
law.
if you don't, that's by law. That's right. So if you're on a long-ass run, 12, 14, 1,500 mile, you want to try to get them off as fast as you can. The other reason is this. A lot of people that don't understand this about livestock, there's a thing called shrinkage. Yeah. And if you're getting paid by weight, well, every minute that cattle's on there, they're losing. You know, they're not drinking water and they're pissing and shitting everywhere. So, I mean, it's come on, y'all.
And it's not even just on about my industry, y'all's industry as well. It's,
folks, I gotta
you gotta know your lane, like that guy that guy that was talking about taking cheap rates. I mean, he doesn't know what he's talking about. What's cheap to him might not be cheap to the other person because his operating costs are down. His truck's been paid off for 20 years. So, I mean, he's a driver. He's not a steering wheel holder. There's a lot of different...
At the end of the day, you're absolutely right. And that was what I was trying to tell him. I was telling him, look, you know what? At the end of the day, you know, carriers are their own worst enemies. I mean, I mean, it is tough, but they are the ones who are setting the rates. And I mean, I don't know. It's just hard for, I think, people to understand that sometimes, that they are the ones ultimately deciding to take the load, and I've put so many different, I mean, analogies to these people, like, well, where is it that the shipper's putting the rate? Where is it that the shipper can go, this is what I need for my numbers to work. I could see that. I mean, I've had people tell me that, all the time. You know what I mean? A lot of them use formulas. We move a lot of chicken, beef, and pork. I mean, they all use the formula, for their, box weights and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And they need certain transportation costs in order for it to be profitable for them, so they might go, hey, I need this. Can you find it out there? And sometimes we can, and sometimes we can't, you know what I mean? And but at the end of the day, the carriers are the ones that are going, yeah, I can do it, or no, I can't do it, like Leander said, I mean, I can understand where he's upset with brokers. I mean, I understand it's one of those things. I mean, I think they're just a step below a car salesman. I don't know, but I mean, it's like, but at the end of the day, like you said, you don't have to do it.
But what gets me is everybody that brokers it, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead, brother, go ahead.
But people think that this broker thing's a new thing. It's been going on forever. There were brokers in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 40s. Brokers are brokers. They've been that way. People use brokers. My family ran their own stuff. Brokers are there for a good thing. You just got to know how much money you need. And if they're not willing to, okay, look, I need $2.12 a mile. I can't do it for $2 a mile. I need $2.12 a mile. And if they're not willing to pay you, you got to be willing to go, okay, well.
And I think you can really
bounce to the house empty, or we're going to wait around for.
And I think true change and what you're trying to do, Cupcake. I mean, I think, when we all understand the foundation, and this is the kind of the thing where, like, I go, like, you got these guys out there that are going, oh, let me help you get customers, and you're going, wait a minute, those are sales tactics. Those are salesman things, and not everybody's a salesman. Not every truck driver out there is a salesman. They're not gonna, so I mean, you kind of have to, like, understand that a lot of these guys are not gonna be able to do this. And, and they are going to have to work with a broker. But I can tell you, there are good brokers out there that can make you money.
I know. I deal with a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's brokers out there that'll make you damn good money, but you got to provide the service. And if you can't even do that part of it.
There. You don't, I mean, you're talking about going to get your own customers. My dad told me when I first did this, when I first got into doing this, he told me, I'm going to get you your first load. It's up to you to get every load after that.
Oh, wow.
If you don't show up on time or early, if you don't dress appropriately, if you don't hold a professional responsibility when you walk in there, then they're not going to remember you.
No.
You're just this Joe Smo that cruised on in with your Jerusalem cruisers on in a tank top instead of coming in there looking professional and doing a good job. And that's how you get customers. It's not about, I can't talk to people. No, just do your fucking job.
Right.
That's
well,
it.
Yeah, you got to be professional. I mean, you got to understand, like you said, I mean, if a customer asks me, hey, what do you think about the market? What do you think is going to happen there? I can go to certain tools. I can look at certain things, look at certain trends and go, look, this is what I can foresee possibly happening. But hey, you know what? Carriers, I mean, sometimes they get tight. Sometimes they're over here. And at the end of the day, I want to believe, and this is my thing. And I want to believe that the people that are on here, vomiting this stuff are just I just hope it's under 5%. That's all I can say. I mean, because I hate to believe that there are people out there buying a truck and getting into this and have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And it's sad. And this is where, like, I go with Dave and I go, Dave, I understand what you're trying to do. And I mean, hey man, I'm with you on it. I mean, I know there's a lot of things in this industry that's broken. There's a lot of things in all industries that are broken, but people make them work. They don't look for excuses. And I need to save everybody. It's like the gentleman was saying, hey, my dad put me out there. He said, look, this is the deal. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what you need to do. Now it's up to you if you're going to make this work for you. Now
Right.
go, you know, and
Yep.
it's like, go for it. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And it's like I told that guy, go look for your customer. Oh no, that's hard. I'm like, well, duh. Well, yeah. I
I
mean,
had a lady
well,
that was just did a video.
Well, y'all,
and
hey,
she-
I hate to do this, but I've got to go get this truck serviced, and I think they just tried to call. So if you want, I
Sorry.
will get back on here once I get the truck serviced, and we can continue this on. So I'll invite y'all up, share it over to you, but I kind of I gotta go over and get an oil
Take care
change
of your
and stuff.
business,
So
sir. Thank you for
All
having
right,
me
take
up.
care,
I
Cupcake.
appreciate
Have a good
y'all.
one,
Y'all
man.
have a blessed
Take it.
day.
yeah, I'll share it out to all of you
God
here if I
bless.
get back on later, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Later on, guys. Take care.
All right. Have a good night.